We'll go ahead and get started then, and then if I need to turn them up, we can do that as we go through. All right, so last time on The Enemy Within, you all were leaving the city of Delberz after you had arrived, pursuing the Manticore that had been harassing the Midland for quite some time. And as you arrived in the city of Delberz, you lost track of the Manticore, which was quite bizarre because it had not been doing much of an effort to conceal itself, slaughtering quite literally anything it came across, including fighting a large bear that Rarit then finished off and claimed some goodies from. It massacred a squad of the Knights Panther, of which some of you decided to take a few items. And when you arrived at the city of Delberz, you saw that for some reason there was nothing going on here. No one had seen it. The city did not seem attacked like the prior towns had been. Things were awfully quiet around these parts. However, you did find some things of interest in the city. You arrived during a big storm, so you kind of were forced to take cover here. But you discovered the Steinplot Shrine, which has within it a rather bizarre quote-unquote holy artifact, though whether or not this is truly a holy artifact seems dubious in some ways. They claim to possess the arm of Grand Theogonists Helmgart, who was quite famous / infamous for his tirades against sorcery, though he was a little justified seeing as he was the Grand Theogonist that presided over the Night of 1,000 Duels when Altdorf had some really bad incidents due to a bunch of wizards fighting each other, and it was Helmgart that put an end to it by basically gathering up all of his crew, and they ended up killing the Patriarch of the Light College by a witch hunter shooting him in the head with a bullet. But upon seeing this shrine, I believe it was Astaroth actually prayed at the shrine, and Sigmar responded. You don't know exactly what Sigmar's blessing did, but you did have a pretty impactful experience praying at this shrine. So at least some among your party do not doubt the holiness of this place at all. This is also around when you ran into two peculiar individuals. You ran into the witch hunter Reichardt Mare, and you also ran into the Sigmarite priest Virtek, though you actually, I believe, first encountered them in the Righteous Moon Inn. But the two of them are definitely, we'll call them devout individuals. They definitely seem to take their faith very seriously. Father Virtek in particular seems to be quite the celebrity figure, at least in the city of Delberz, whereas the witch hunter is a little more of a quiet, brooding figure. But they're definitely partners in whatever it is they're up to. They do have a little bit of a gang that's been running around with them. They may be associated, though of course you did get confirmation of this later, that there seems to be some sort of group that is running around with little pins or like little badges in their lapels or on their collars, that it's a little copper talisman that it's like a weird little button. But in any event, as you were leaving the city of Delberz to head for Altdorf, you encountered a strange individual who went by the name of Gerdon Darkhide, and actually Blackfur. Gerdon Blackfur, that's what it was. Darkhide was the original name I had for him, but Blackfur sounds cooler. So Gurden approached the lot of you and asked if you would be willing to take on a task for him in exchange for information about the Manticore and potentially other goodies. And he asked that you loot or somehow acquire some of the nail clippings taken from the Steinplot Shrine every once in a while, which are then delivered to the Sigmarite Temple of Delberz. And currently, the shrine seems to be pretty much watched only by a halberdier by the name of Peter Zuvrist. And Zuvrist, who is the self-proclaimed High Sentinel of the Holy Hand, takes his job pretty seriously, but basically just kind of stands around with a halberd, making sure nobody does anything untowards at the shrine. There are pretty good crowds that gather around during most parts of the day. There's been a lot of flagellants appearing in the town, wanting to witness this holy relic and whipping themselves and screaming about the end times and all sorts of other nasty things. And quite a few nobles and other religious folks who are a little less prone to flagellation also tend to show up to bear witness to the elegance of this shrine, which is pretty ornate and pretty well designed. But your party was a little split on whether or not to do this. Ultimately, the elf and the dwarf the elf decided not to join with your shenanigans and headed out on the Altdorf Road, where Dorothandrel had an encounter with Gurden. But they were rudely interrupted by three men wearing those copper badges who seemed like they were attempting to capture the elf and failed miserably to do so when the elf simply outran them. And then one of them pulled out a pistol to shoot the elf with, but had his head split open by Gerdon's throwing axe. And then Dorothandrel chased down one of the lads while the dwarf showed up to assist. Unfortunately, poor old Thend smacked his head pretty hard against a large root while chasing this mysterious individual through the forest and knocked himself out cold. And is still lying on the forest floor somewhere, missing. But Dorothandrel did manage to capture his lad and interrogate him a bit, that they were indeed sent to capture the elf, and meeting up with Gurden, the two of them, or the three of them, because they took the lad with them, are now looking for poor Thend, who is somewhere out in the forest. However, while all this was taking place, things were brewing back in the city of Delberz, and the two humans, Astaroth and Sigmund, come up with a plan alongside Rerit the ogre on how to perhaps find a way to steal the nail clippings that are being gathered today by Peter Zuvrist and get away with their prize, which is, by at least according to the Sigmarites that live here, a holy relic blessed by Sigmar himself. And if I recall correctly, your plan, which is about to go off, is that Rerit and Astaroth went into the forest and are going to, well, I'll let y'all say what's going to happen, but it's about to go on.
We already did that, and also Rerit did finally reveal to Astaroth he's a wizard.
Right. You showed Astaroth that you can use magic, and you both covered yourselves in, or you also cut both of you up and smeared a bunch of blood over both of you so that you looked like you had fought the Manticore, and you're about to come charging out of the forest to pretend like the Manticore is about to attack the city.
Yeah, though Astaroth looks more cut up because Rerit also cut up his clips to match the wounds he inflicted on him.
Yeah.
All right.
But your clothes must be sacrificed in the name of the Maw for this one time.
That's okay.
Yeah, and if make sure anyone players that you are keeping track of if you're under the effect of your colds still, like if you have any disease. I think most of you are still sick with some stuff.
I am yet to full on get.
Yeah, by the end of today's session, you will be actually sick, Rerit, but not yet. I believe that happens on the next day.
Yeah, next day or like sometime during the night.
Yeah.
All right, so Rerit and Sigmund, we're just gonna, or sorry, Astaroth, we're gonna just start with you two immediately. How do y'all want to come running out of the forest to try and set things off in the city?
So we are all set, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we finished everything that we need to do.
Yeah, you look like bloody messes. You've got some pretty gnarly looking, they're just like surface flesh wounds, but Rerit's cleaver did make them look suitably gnarly. But unless there's anything else the two of you wish to do, you are pretty much set. And it's dusk is rapidly approaching.
Okay.
All right, Big Mess, this is what we're gonna do.
Okay.
We're gonna run up to the gate, find the nearest guards, and we're just gonna start screaming and yelling that the Manticore is coming. That we just came back from Delberz. That we saw it's back at the village, it's tearing people apart, it killed a whole group of Knights Panther.
Whoa. That was yesterday, though. It's about this, Slim. You and I went out hunting to get some food for us. And we spied something until... whoosh! The fucking big thing nabbed it up, started scoffing it up. You went to take a shot, and it just looked at us, and then it went for us. And we barely got away.
We have to convince them that it's coming here right now.
Like it was
Say
getting
that
ready
it's-
to chase us, and it just
Yeah.
stopped to fight another bear.
Okay. Sounds like a plan to me. Are you ready?
I hope you can keep up, Slim.
Oh, I'll do my best. You better keep up with me. So I guess we are just going to start hightailing it out of the
Yes.
tree line
We're just gonna
as fast as we can.
Yeah, and we're just gonna make it. I know it's gonna go after me, Dusty Cleaver again.
So we're gonna come running up to the gate, and do we see any guards or any guards that we've met previously?
You do not see any guards that you've met previously, because the guard you initially met was over at the Mindenheim side. Granted, that was yesterday, but you do see a fair number of guards. There's about 6 or 7 guys standing outside, mostly equipped with halberds or swords and shields, like one archer. But they do immediately turn and notice the screaming ogre in particular hurtling towards them, but they see you as well. So they initially raise their weapons more to do with the ogre, but they look more confused than anything.
Don't go into
Running
the forest,
right up to the
Slims.
basic. Got the Manticore. It's coming. It's coming here now.
It's in the
Just
forest.
heard it
It's just
hunting.
hunting.
It's in the forest just outside.
It
We
was
tried to find it out. I don't even know how we got away.
It's lucky I'm faster than you, Slim, but it's in there and it's fighting a bear at this very moment.
Okay.
The bear's gonna come right here because it's already marked us up. I don't know how I got away. I'm bleeding all over the place, but now it knows. It's got my scent. It's gonna be here any minute.
Okay. Both of you can roll, due to the fact that when y'all arrived, you already kind of informed the guard about the Manticore. Like the tail of that thing swooping down and plucking men off the walls has already kind of spread rather rampantly. Go ahead and roll me. You can either do a charm check or an intimidation check. But Rarity, if you do intimidation, you don't get any bonuses for your size or anything, because this is not related to that type of intimidation.
Okay, yeah.
But it will be average instead of challenging.
Okay, do you have any advances in Intimidate, Astaroth?
No, I do not.
Okay, I can do it because it's... I'll do Intimidate then, because I've got very high stats in Intimidate. Average...
What do you have?
49.
Oh yeah, I have a 38, and then a charm. I have a 37.
Alright.
Okay, they did not do super great on their cool check.
Should I just roll the same, or could I roll a charm for myself?
No, you can roll whatever you want. You can either do charm or intimidate.
And it's average.
Yeah, it'll be average either way.
Haha.
You got Fortune?
Yeah.
You're not gonna need a fortune. Rarit did fine. So seeing Rarit's, everyone's eyes are far more drawn to the significantly louder and larger ogre, who is seemingly covered in cuts and blood and gore, and all of these men assume, upon focusing on the ogre, that based on its screaming about this Manticore that they've heard about, they've heard tales of it, and they see how this large creature is seemingly terrified for its life, and you just see the color drain from their faces and one of the halberdiers turns to the archer at the back and says, "Sound the alarm! Sound the alarm!" And they immediately start running into the gate. And you see a couple of them seem far more interested in just getting under cover as opposed to actually like doing anything particular. But the archer does run into one of the towers, and you hear a bell begin to ring, toll very, very loudly, and you can already hear screams of panic and confusion coming from within the city as the other towers start to pick up the signal.
I just look towards Aster and I just nod to him, leaning over. It's time, get inside.
All right, let's go. Let's hope Sigmund.
The guards are waving everyone inside, trying to get. You see people on the road start running. The wagons, they're snapping the reins, trying to get their oxen or horses or donkeys to go faster. There are children being picked up by their parents. People are screaming. They're all looking up at the sky. And it's getting darker. There's not much clouds out today because it actually was a very beautiful day, but no one's taking any chances, especially with the Drakewald looming so close. You have no problem getting into the city. Sigmund, what were you going to try and go ahead and go to the shrine early, or are you going to wait for your companions?
I think the original plan was for him to go on his own.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah, because I don't. Astaroth does not want to physically
Actually,
partake in the act of.
yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're supposed to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Sigmund, what is your? So first, real quick, establish what your plan is, and then we will play out how a lot is about to ride on you.
Yeah. So he was going to wait, like, not in view of the shrine plaza. That way he'd like look like he's running up to it. And he wants to try and convince Peter Zuverst that, hey, that alarm is the Manticore. You should stay here and defend the hand. I will take the nail clippings to the church down the road to make sure they get secured safe there.
All right. So you're hanging out nearby the shrine. Do you want to be at the Righteous Moon Inn, or do you just kind of want to hang around like the square that is kind of in that space that the shrine is centrally located in?
Kind of near the square, but not like
Okay.
directly.
So you're sort of hanging out, looking around, just kind of keeping a careful eye on things. And sure enough, you hear and are probably let out a small breath of relief, though hopefully it's truly just a facade and not the actual attack. You hear bells starting to ring loudly and ominously, and you as soon as the sound hits more than 3 times, you see any of the city guard immediately drop whatever it is that they're doing, and they start shouting at people to get inside. Everyone get inside! Everyone get into cover! Some of them start running for the walls. You see men picking up crossbows. A lot of them seem to be going for ranged weapons over melee weapons as they head for various places. And they begin immediately hurting people out of the square, but seem far more preoccupied with making sure people are not trampling one another, which becomes a very real threat very quickly. There's a lot of chaos and confusion going on.
All right. He's going to count to like 30 and then make his way to the shrine.
All right. You start pushing your way through the crowds. Things are getting significantly more chaotic due to one particular grouping more than the others, which is the Flagellants, where most people are panicking and trying to get away from the shrine. The Flagellants, if anything, seem to be getting far more amped up and are almost kind of turning into a self-made riot that is also whipping themselves and just throwing flails in near every direction. And there are no few accidental strikes against innocent folk that are just trying to get past them. This is turning into a little bit of a body press and some dangerous territory. So do you just want to try and kind of manhandle and push your way through? Do you want to try and maybe like dodge around or try and order people aside? What is your game plan for getting through this crowd that some of it's trying to push towards the shrine, some of it's trying to push away from the shrine? It's kind of just a mass mess.
Yeah, he's been working in Nuln a lot, so he's not unused to working through crowds like this. So he's gonna try and just dodge his way through.
All right, so roll for me just an average dodge check as you are trying to avoid not only getting knocked over by just this press of bodies, but also having to worry about these flagellants throwing around their flails and whips.
I'm gonna re-roll that.
Okay, fair. Off to some hot dice today. Woo, okay. Being experienced in Nome, which has a significantly higher population, and you've dealt with many scenarios where there have been outsiders or tourists visiting the city, and there's some annoying explosion at the gunnery school, or they're testing some new weapon that detonates or just makes a particularly heinous sound, and it tends to cause panics. Not everyone in the Empire is really used to being around guns, and nobody likes explosions, even though as a native you'd grown used to them. But you know how to navigate these crowds. So sure enough, you immediately identify the easiest way through and very carefully pick your way through, taking advantage of places where there's like a little bit of a breath, or the flagellants, their flailing kind of creates a number of openings as people try to avoid them. And you're really able to take advantage of that, maneuvering through all these various attacks, and you make your way easily through the crowd and into the shrine area proper, where you see that the vast majority of people have left and are leaving, and Peter Zuvris is standing by the hand, clutching his halberd, looking up frantically.
High Sentinel! High Sentinel!
He turns and looks at you, and he looks almost kind of like hopeful for a moment, and then when he sees you, and you can tell he clearly doesn't recognize you, his face sort of falls a little bit, and he goes back to looking up and goes, What do you want? I'm busy.
The Manticore's... I think that's the alarm for the Manticore.
Yes, I know what the alarm means. Every god knows what the alarm means. You should be looking for cover. It's not safe here.
I want to help. The clippings. I can take them to the church for you.
He frowns and kind of looks at you, and his eyes narrow a little bit, and he goes, "We don't need to worry about the clippings now. Don't you see that crowd? No, we must stand here and defend the shrine. Surely this is my moment. This is why the beast has come, to devour the holy hand. But I will not allow this. I will defend all of this. It is my sacred duty."
I can take the clippings to the church. Let them know that you need help here as well. I can come back with people from the church to help you.
Roll an average charm check. Wow, okay. Yeah, you're, while a more calm and rational man might have been a little alerted by what you were saying, Peter Zuvrist is clearly terrified. And while he is holding his halberd and holding his ground, you can see that his legs are like slightly buckling. He's keeping it together, but he's pale, he's shaking a little bit, and he seems to be mostly talk for all of his grandiose speeches about being the chosen one who is meant to defend the Grand Theogonists Helmgart's hand. You could tell he would really rather be anywhere else. He's enjoyed his job when it just came to keeping away filthy flagellants and dirty peasants and making sure that the nobles had something nice to look at, but this is completely different. And he looks down and goes, all right, and he reaches into a satchel, or he reaches down and pulls off, undoes like a little satchel he has around his belt, and he hands it off to you, and he says, "Make sure they bring reinforcements quickly."
I will. And I will take the satchel and start making my way towards the main square.
All right. As you start pressing your way back, because you rolled so well earlier, we're not going to make you test again. You are still able to get past the flagellants, who are now pouring quite heavily into the square. They've gotten past. The guards have given up on trying to herd the flagellants. They're all just worried about trying to get the regular people to safety now, especially those merchants and higher up nobles who actually would be problematic if they got hurt. And many of them are now heading for their proper positions and posts to prepare for the impending assault. Meanwhile, the flagellants now pouring in unrestricted are much easier to avoid, seeing as they have space to spread out and resume whipping themselves into a frenzy. And they clearly have come to defend the shrine, although they are just getting their blood and filth everywhere. But you do manage to take advantage of this moment to slip out without anyone seeming to notice you and start making your way for the main square. While you're doing that, we're going to pop back over to Rarit and Astaroth. What are you two doing?
I guess we're just trying to act like we are hiding and taking cover while also looking out for Sigmund. So we're trying to like we're facing the direction of the shrine, trying to see if we can pick him out from a crowd while also trying to blend in.
All right, both of you roll me a easy perception check.
Okie dokie.
Okay, and Mr. Astaroth. Okay, I do need to roll a check for a different character. One moment. Jesus Christ! All right, GM dice today. So Astaroth, as you are watching the crowd, a lot of people are were initially kind of gathering into the square, but are now filing to the main temple of Sigmar. You see Father Diedrich actually emerge from the temple, and he starts roaring for the doors to be opened, and people immediately begin flooding in to the perceived safety of this stone cathedral, which, to be fair, does look quite well fortified. And there are already guards with crossbows and even a few handguns popping up along its battlements and the higher stories, who are scanning the skies looking for this supposed threat. Many guards are also starting to swarm around to the front gate, helping people get inside, trying to pick people up who fall. And luckily, not many people are heading your direction, but you do very quickly spot Sigmund making his way towards you, hustling along. But you do also notice that he's not alone. At least after you kind of watch him, and as he's approaching, you notice that there is a familiar, heavily scarred face not far behind him underneath a very large hat. And he also does not seem like he's alone. There are a number of individuals with him, though he seems to be trying not to catch Sigmund, but just to keep Sigmund in view.
Big man. That witch hunter. Seems like he's following Sigmund.
He comes close to anyone and does anything. I don't care the rules. I'll gut him.
Well, it looks like Sigmund's in a bit of a situation. I don't know if the plan was botched and he's running away, or if the witch hunter is following him. It looks like he's following him.
Or just trying to keep an eye on us, because remember, I was the one that made him keep an eye on us, because I asked questions.
So let's do.
The second we
let's-
get him, we wait for everything to calm down, try and and then we'll get out.
What we should do, I think, what we should do, is run towards Sigmund, run
Yeah.
towards the witch hunter. You're big. You take up half the street, and run into them. Act like you're scared to the Manticore, and not the Manticore, and get in front of them and block their view and push them back, and we can both push them back, like we're trying to get into cover, and give Sigmund just enough time to get away.
You
Out
see
of
Rory
view.
grin wide, showing like his somewhat, even though savagely crude teeth look really sharp. Still goes, I love that idea.
All right, Mike, man, let's go. We don't have a lot of time. And we're gonna start running frantically towards the witch hunter and Sigmund and the witch hunter and his posse.
One moment while no one's looking. I'm gonna lightly cut myself again, just to make it look still fresh from my thing. So I'll take a point off my health. I will.
Yeah,
we're
just
gonna
take one wound.
Yeah.
We're gonna run past Sigmund and act like we don't even acknowledge his presence, and we're just gonna run into the group, going, "Get out of the way! Get
Yeah.
Manticore's coming!"
Yeah. Let's go. Ow. Let's go.
Sigmund,
Get inside!
you very quickly identify the ogre because anyone who is even remotely near him is giving him a hugely wide berth. You see, a few people aren't necessarily sure if the ogre is what the cause of the problem is, or if there's another problem, because upon seeing the ogre, they scream and throw themselves to the side. But what immediately catches your attention is that the ogre, and you notice Astaroth next to him, begin barreling towards you, and they are screaming.
Uh,
I am moving my run speed, so that's 24. I'm moving.
The ogre is moving like he is hurtling towards you.
Out of the way, Slim!
he's gonna like look at Astaroth and like go to start raising a hand, like like try and like keep him back.
No, I'm gonna run past him, and I don't know what I could roll for. Like, very quickly while I'm moving, just say loud enough that he can hear, "Keep moving."
Rarit, are you going to make sure you avoid Sigmund?
Yes, I am gonna make sure I avoid Sigmund, but enough to charge into the witch hunter, and he's
Okay, the witch hunter's like, he's a good like 20-30 yards behind him, so it's not like he's right behind him. He's a little ways back.
yeah, but I'm a
Yeah, we'll
fast
keep
ogre.
going. Yeah.
I'm fast.
Yeah. So Sigmund, roll me a D100 and just don't roll a 90 or above. Okay. So you manage to resist the impulse of your brain telling you move out of the way, because you basically are suddenly getting to experience what it's like to be a goblin when a cannonball's coming towards you, and you manage to not step in the way that Rarit attempts to avoid you, and Rarit charges past you, and you hear him screaming in what you're not really sure if it's glee or horror. It's a little hard to tell, but he does charge past you, and all eyes are on the ogre as people are dodging and throwing themselves out of the way. Sigmund, as you approach, you have plenty of time to whisper, speak to him, unless you just want to just really keep going.
I'm just gonna say, just keep moving, don't look back, and start running towards the group with Rarit.
All right, Sigmund, where are you gonna go?
Did we lose him?
Yeah, Sigmund.
Hawk, you there?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, weird. My mic cut out.
Where are you gonna go?
He's going to go towards one of the other exits on this side of the river.
Okay, so you want to head for like this one over here?
Yeah.
All right. So you continue making your way to the main square. Rarit, as you wheel around Sigmund, you see the witch hunter along with 8 cronies. 8 guys who none of them are holding weapons at the moment, though as you are hurtling towards them, you see all of their eyes grow into saucers. Even the witch hunter, like his face may be very grizzled, but you can see a look of shock overtake him at the very sudden barreling object heading towards them. What? How are you? Is there any? Are you wanting to try and hit as many of them as possible? Are you wanting to aim for the witch hunter in particular? What is your goal here?
I'd say the plan is to hit anybody, but just like to try, like, as you run into them, like you're running away from the Manticore.
Yeah. I want to make it look like I accidentally I can accidentally hit them, but I'm still gonna be frantic, and then I'll start screaming about the Manticore saying, "It's in the woods! Oh, fucking bear!"
All right, so I'll phrase it this way: do you want to try and like run through them, and if they get out of the way, fine. But if they don't, you'll knock them over.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
To block them from going any further.
All right. So you hurtle straight towards the center of the group, and you can see that it, in the faster thinking of them, the witch hunter being among them, they realize that they need to move aside, and they throw themselves to the ground. But 3 of these men are far too busy gawking at you to realize that they are in imminent danger. And sure enough, you slam into these gentlemen with your prodigious gut. Go ahead and roll me as if you were rolling a charge attack.
So charging,
But an unarmed attack.
unarmed, so I'll just do base melee, and I don't have brawling, which would have given me a bonus for dirty fighting, but it's just gonna be melee then. So
Just do like weapon skill, but you do get the plus 10.
for charging. Okay, where is weapon skill? There you are. Thank you, please. Thank you. So challenging. Plus 10 because I am charging.
Oh.
It would be plus 4 because I'm one size higher than them for my damage.
Yeah, we're gonna see if they somehow at the last second managed to get out of the way. So one of them, you see that his reverie is suddenly broken, and he just narrowly, just by the slightest of hairs on his chinny chin chin, manages to dive and hit the ground hard, avoiding you. The other 2 gentlemen are not so fortunate, and your bulk just plows into these poor sods. And one of them, in particular, a young man who's already going through the stages of losing his hair. He's already got teeth missing. He's got really bad cauliflower ear. This man has clearly been through the ringer, and even though unfortunately he's much younger than he appears, he is literally has his mouth hanging open, staring up at you until the last second when you see him just vanish underneath your bulk. Like, you feel your body impact him, but instead of going away, or he's just dragged down underneath you, and there is a very unfortunate crunching sound as you continue barreling forwards. The other guy is more clipped by your gut as it's mid-swing, and he does an impressive series of twirls in the air before he slams into the cobblestone and skids away.
I'll just shout back, going, "Sorry, Slims! Run! It's still there! It's coming out of the woods!"
So seeing that the witch hunter dodged out of the way, I'm going to run up to him and grab one of the corners of his collar and just start pathetically bawling. Just, so much hunter, please! You have to go. You have to find it. I saw it. It bears the mark of chaos. It has the 8-pointed star. You have to go out and Get that foul Manticore, please.
Roll. Roll me an easy charm check. I'm gonna GM roll this one. Okay. All right. As you grab onto his collar, because at first he kind of stands up, or he like adjusts himself. He dusts off his cloak, and he looks back towards where Rarit has gone. And Astaroth, you get to see the very unfortunate man who goes down beneath the ogre, and he is now also joined in the cacophonic screaming. But his screaming is due more to the fact that you see that his knee is now more of a pancake that's got little splinters of white sticking out of it. And he is shrieking in agony on the ground as his leg has now inverted instead of bending the way it's supposed to. And the Witch Hunter is more focused on that until you grab him. And the moment you grab him, he turns and you see his hand reach into his cloak and he's about to pull something. But then you start blubbering all over him, and he stares at you very coldly for a long moment as you continue rambling and talking before he releases whatever it is he was holding, and he doesn't speak to you. He simply grabs you very firmly by your shoulder and pushes you aside and says, "Come on!" And he takes off at a full sprint now towards the square.
Towards where Sigmund was running?
Yes. Sigmund, are you running like as fast as you can, or are you more like running at, or like moving at a reasonable pace but not like full sprint?
I think it's at this point with the front.
Actually, hold up.
Did we buy him enough time to get out of this field of view?
Oh yeah, Sigmund's gone. I'm just curious how fast Sigmund is wanting to move.
Yeah, at this point it would probably be a full run.
All right, so you are sprinting your way to the gate. Roll me an athletics check. And it'll be challenging because this will just add to your movement. I'm just wanting to see how far you got. Oh yeah, you're gone. Yeah, no, you, a part of you, no, like, there's a small part of your brain, the vast majority of your mind tells you there is no Manticore attack. Everything is fine. I'm doing something risky, but I am not in any genuine danger as far as I know. But there is the small animal part of your brain that just saw how bloody and cut up Rarit and Astaroth were. And their performance was convincing enough that that part of your brain tells you, but what if we are in danger? What if something did attack them and they're not pretending? It only looks like they're pretending, but surely they would not have actually cut themselves up. And there is a very strong amount of adrenaline suddenly in your system between the fact that you know you're stealing something very valuable and precious and that you're actually not entirely convinced that there isn't something afoot. And that fear puts a lot of extra pep in your step, and you find yourself blurring past people. And there's actually a number of people who start running alongside you or after you because they think that maybe you've seen something terrifying. So suddenly you have a little bit of a mob that's picking up speed with you heading towards what is the Eastern Gate. Back to the other two very briefly. The Witch Hunter looks into the crowd as he starts to run, and Reichardt looks to the left. He looks to the right, his head snapping around, and he freezes, and his men kind of scatter past him a little bit, and they're also looking around, but not seeming to find what they're looking for. And he scowls before he turns back, and he focuses his attention purely on you, Astaroth, and he starts stalking towards you, looking very menacing, as witch hunters tend to do.
I'll just keep, acting scared, and I'll start running towards, with Revit, we'll start running towards where people were gathering. Is he going to catch up to me, or?
He's not moving fast enough to catch you, but as he sees you start moving away, he points at you and says, "You! Wait!"
And I'll stop and say, "Sir, there's a Manticore around! We need to find cover! What are you doing?"
Rare, by the way, are you still going, or did you stop?
I only went a little bit, but I went down an alley just so I could look out from the area to keep an eye on them.
Okay, that's fine. As you run around a corner, there are a number of people in the alleyways, and at first there's a little bit of panic, but one of them seems to recognize you and say, "Oh, we're saved! The ogre will protect us!" And all of a sudden everyone seems far more cheery, or at least relieved that you're here. So you hear a lot of people offering praises to Sigmar, but as you kind of turn and look back the corner towards Astaroth, you do see the witch hunter bearing down on him.
Seeing this, I'm gonna,
He does not appear armed, however.
Okay, but the moment I notice... All it is, what I'm gonna do is, Robert's gonna stay there, pretend like he's hiding with the others, but the second he sees the Witcher to do anything he might think is hostile towards Astaroth, he will charge. He will charge back thinking he's seen something else that scared him even more.
All right. Astaroth, as Rykart approaches you, his eyes kind of narrow and he goes, "Where did you see the beast?"
Oh, sir, in the woods. And I'm sorry, what gate did we initially enter?
You came out of the south. You came out of the South Forest.
Out of the South Forest. Just to the woods to the south.
All right. He turns and looks in that direction, and he turns back at you and he frowns and he says, "Where is the elf that was with you?"
I have no idea. Do you think I know the comings and goings of an elf folk? He is so peculiar and just above himself. He does what he wants. He comes and goes as he pleases.
At this, he looks at you for a moment and he stares you down. Roll me a average cool test.
Oh, can I use a fate to re-roll that?
I would recommend using a fortune, not a fate.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, a fortune.
He does roll pretty well, but I won't tell you what he's up to just yet. But you can re-roll.
I'm still sick for another day, so I got this -10 on me.
Ooh, the 80s are sticking. All right. So, he narrows his eyes at you, and you see his hand his gloved hand slowly kind of reach up and starts sort of fingering at his opposite, like an inside pocket on his coat. And he narrows his eye and he leans forward and he goes, "What are you hiding from me?"
Do I look like I'm hiding anything? I'm covered in cuts and blood! By Sigma! You think I'm hiding something in the middle of all of this? I'm out here in the open, I'm bleeding!
Roll an average charm check. All right, he pauses for a moment, and you hear a very distinct, faint click noise. But after a moment, he leans back and he sort of gestures with his chin and says, "Go, find cover." And as he turns to leave, he turns and looks back at you and he says, "And if I were you, I would be far more cautious about the company you keep. You think that elf just magically appears out of nowhere and then the Manticore shows up after it when it's likely being threatened at this moment? Did that Manticore show up the same time the elf did back in Middenheim?
I'll look to him and I'll stand up kind of straighter and I'll say, you know, you bring up a good point and you might be right. But I'd say, how about you do your duty?
He pauses for a moment and watches you as if he's deliberating something before simply turning on his heel, and he starts running towards the south gate, and he shouts something, and all the men that were with him chase after him. Nobody seems to give the slightest of damns about the man who is now weeping in the street, cradling the absolute ruin of his left knee.
I will run over to Rara and say, big man, we're leaving, and we're leaving right now.
Good, let's go.
And we're going to start hightailing it towards the northern gate.
Yep.
All right.
Northern gate. You mean the eastern gate?
Eastern gate.
Yes.
All right, Sigmund, you, the gate, when you arrive at the eastern gate, it is slammed shut. It looks to be completely sealed off. There are guards swarming it. Everyone seems to be preparing for an impending attack, and they are screaming at people to take cover. Go find cover. Get to safety.
Then I will double back and try and find an alleyway to slink into.
There's a nice one right over here.
Perfect.
You do see a lot of the businesses and homes are all slamming their doors shut, covering their windows if they can. You hear bolts being thrown into place. There are a few people who try and gesture for you to come over and join them, but if you don't make any acknowledgement of them, they don't wait long for you.
Yeah, I'll just try and keep an eye on my other two party members that are still in the city.
All right, it's not long before you see them come running up. Rarit, of course, is very easily identifiable. And if you make a small gesture for them, and they quickly duck into the alley after you, and the three of you are reunited.
Oh, fucking hell, I've never run this much in my life. Oh,
Just a bit
God.
more, big man. Just a bit more. We're almost out of the city. Sigmund, we need to go. We need to go right now.
The gate's shut.
Fuck.
And at that, I'll just start
Good.
bellowing at the top of my lungs. Out of us! We'll deal with the Manticore. Let us through. We have an ogre. We will fight the Manticore. Just let us through.
Are you yelling this in the alleyway, or are you yelling this?
right now.
I come out of the alleyway. Sorry, yeah.
All right, before you go out, lad, before you go out, I was leaning to Siggy's going, did you get it? Did you get it?
Yes.
Good, let's get the fuck out of here. I trust you, man.
All right, the three of you start making your way towards the gate, apparently with a lot of pomp and circumstance and creating an absolute cacophony. But as you are approaching the gate, you see a lot of the guards are those that are standing by the gate. They have their halberds lowered towards it. You see mostly there are people running around up on the towers and the parapets, I guess is the right word, preparing for whatever it is that's coming. And they don't seem terribly pleased by the three of you approaching to their exposed rear. A few of them turn around to angle their halberds at you. But there is one man who's very clean shaven and definitely has the look of a grizzled veteran who actually is not afraid at all. He looks far more prepared for what is coming he kind of turns and looks at the lot of you and he holds up a hand signaling for you to stop.
Oh, damn it. I got an idea.
He nods and says, "What's all this then?"
We need to get out to the city to find our dwarf friend. He's missing.
He raises an eyebrow and he says, "If your dwarf friend's out there, it could very well likely be he's already been feasted upon. It would be safer for you to remain here and look afterwards."
But we need to get out there and find him. He's all alone. I remember him being there.
Not to mention, for our own safety, we have an ogre.
And we have our bonds with the dwarf.
He frowns for a moment, but he waits a few seconds, and he turns and sort of looks at the gate, and he shouts up to the archers, and you hear him shout, "Has anything been sighted?" And there's a pause for a few moments before someone shouts down, "No, sir!" He nods, and he turns back to the three of you, and says, "I understand that bonds are important. Oaths for dwarves even more so. I'll open it just enough for you to squeeze out, but we'll shut it behind you. We can't let you back in. You understand?"
I understand, Slims. Thank you, more bless you.
He nods and he shouts, "Open the gates, just a crack!" And nods to the three of you before standing aside, and you hear chains being pulled, and one of the gate doors slowly starts to creak open.
Let's go, boys.
All right, let's go. Let's get out of here.
All right, the three of you make your way outside the gates of Delberz, and the second you're outside of it, you hear another shout, and the gate very quickly slams shut with a resounding boom.
Okay. I just leave
Dude, it's the road, Esroth.
Just Afro, wherever that is.
Yep.
You lead
Let's
the
go
way.
to the wood line. Let's go to the woods. Let's go.
Leon, oh god, oh more, this is gonna hurt my legs.
All right, you start running up towards the forest. Meanwhile, however, in said forest, Dorothrandrel, you are there with Gurden, and also, what the hell did I call that son of a bitch? Sorry, what?
Kurt Smith.
Kurt Smith, that's right. You have Kurt with you, who is still just absolutely distraught at his circumstances. What are you doing?
I'm fiddling with the pistol, looking at it, and I look over to Kurt and say, so your Reichard wanted to gift me a bullet.
He nervously nods and says, "Yeah, he said it put, if you tried any witch shenanigans, it'd put you down."
Oh, I'm sure a bullet does that to most people, which is not included. But I'm going to be looking for signs of Then's passing.
All right. Do you have tracking of any kind?
I do not. I know how to navigate.
Navigate would be moderately helpful. Let me see if Gurden has tracking.
It might come under outdoor survival sometimes.
Oh yeah, if you have that as well, that also works.
I mean, I can roll it.
Might as well.
And this is challenging?
No, make it, you can make it average.
The third six.
Damn. All right, guys. As you are picking through, you find yourself back at the little creek you stopped at earlier. And you are able to identify where the heavy footfalls of Thind landed. And sure enough, it is not hard to track his footsteps. They are very noticeable. He did not so much chase his opponent through the forest as seemingly wrecked his way after his opponent, who seemed to at least have been gifted enough to weave and move around plants without causing too much of a scene. But everywhere Thind went, it is painfully obvious. You can actually hear Gurden chuckling under his breath every time you pass by a sapling that had a branch snapped off, or leaves completely and utterly crushed beneath the tread of this dwarf, who seemingly has no skill when it comes to moving through a forest. And only after about 5 minutes of following his trail of destruction, you come across none other than Thind lying prone on the ground, completely out. and with a pretty nasty-looking bruise forming on his forehead.
Gordon's gonna rub his throat as he looks at the nearby large loop of rubber tree. Then I'll go over and shake him.
He does not respond. Gurden sort of lets out a harumph and walks over and looks down at the dwarf, and looks up at the branch that is, or the root rather, that is coming out over the path that's just about dwarf head height, and sort of nods to it and says, I take it he doesn't take many woodland paths.
I do not believe so. I believe he liked to live high up on mountains.
He'll nod and kneel down and say, let me take a look at him. And Gurden's gonna roll a heal check.
Very good at woodscraft.
What'd you say?
Kurt, was your friend very good at woodscraft?
Kurt nods and says, well, me and most of the lads, you know, we grew up in Delberz, and lots of the kids would come out and run around the forest, especially when you come on manhood.
At least he has sense. He didn't come back and slit Then's throat. That would have been quite vexing.
He looks aghast and says, oh, we wouldn't kill a dwarf. Not unless it was absolutely necessary. That would, oh no, that would be terrible. That goes against all of Sigmar's teachings.
Will nod slowly.
Oh, okay. So, wow, damn. So Gurden sort of leans over and very carefully kind of runs his finger across Then's head before he reaches into one of the many pouches he has hanging from his belt, and he pulls out a little substance, and he very carefully smears it between his fingers, and he holds it in front of Then's nose for a few moments. And then you suddenly snap awake. Your eyes just fly open as something just brings you lurching back to consciousness, but you have a horrible headache.
Oh, did he get away?
I am afraid he did.
And you can tell by looking up at this, you're able to see through the canopy, and as you're not terribly deep into the Drakewald, that there has been at least a solid 1 or 2 hours since you went down. As when you left, it was nearing dusk, and now it is that part of dusk where there's very, very little. Like, the sun is probably no longer visible, and the sky is slowly changing colors to that pure blackness.
Seems I might have overestimated myself. But what's this? Who's this one?
This is Kurt Smith. He is an associate of the man you were racing after.
You see this young manling very disgustingly wipe the snot that is still pouring down from his nose and tears onto his tunic.
Seems
Yes,
like-
he and his friends wish to gift me a bullet.
Oh, is that now? I sort of look in the direction of Kurt.
He does not meet your eyes.
That's very good to know.
What are you doing here, Thend? I thought you were staying in Delberz.
Caught wind of this group heading over to you, but it seems like you've already handled this situation yourself.
Did you come to help me? Dorthandra looks aghast.
Yes, of course. I don't see why not.
I thought you had whole books about why not. But color me impressed, Master Thend. I
I'm just
have
a simple city
just
dwarf.
the thing for the dwarf who would come to the aid of an elf. Think of it as a token of my appreciation. I will fumble and hand Thend the gun. The witch hunter failed to just take the bullet after the gun, but I think it's worthwhile. Have a gun and a bullet meant for me, the elf you defended.
I'll take a look at it.
It is a pistol. You've never actually held one. It looks
Appreciate
innocuous enough, but you've seen them used though plenty in your life.
Thank you. I'll hold on to this. But I think best we get out of this thicket first, back onto the road. I don't feel too comfortable here.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Gurden stands up and says, "I can lead us back, avoiding any trouble."
Yes, please. Please do.
All right, the four of you, slowly but surely make your way out of the forest, and you emerge in view of the Altdorf to Delberz road, and it is pretty much deep into dusk now, like it's basically night. As you arrive onto the road, you do see that it is completely empty, which is bizarre, because earlier it had travelers, and you suppose that maybe everything's dried up for the night. It does seem odd, and you do hear the faint sound of bells ringing. And Kurt seems to pale as he listens to the sound. He says, oh no. Oh no.
What is it? What is it, Kurt?
Gurden kind of cocks his head and says, I believe those are warning bells for if the town's under attack.
Orthandrel has a picture in his head of Rerit. Surely not.
Kurt kind of like looks at the three of you and then kind of stumbles over himself, sprinting for, his home. He says, I have to go check on my ma.
Okay, Kurt. Have fun. Did you have something you wanted to ask him, Gurden? Then, before he runs off?
Gurden shakes his head.
I think we can investigate ourselves later.
Kurt vanishes into the distance, heading for Delberz. Goodbye, Kurt Smith.
Goodbye, Kurt Smith.
At this point, you do hear rapidly approaching individuals, and Gurden does not even bother turning around, but says, from those heavy footsteps, I think your friends have shown up. Rerit, Astaroth, and Sigmund, you, thankfully, after running across a fair bit of fields, past some farmland and a windmill, all of which were completely abandoned as everyone has taken for cover, you see Gerdon Blackfur along with Orthandrel and Thend.
Oh, you made it. Did everything go okay? Look up and down the two bloody party members.
It's completely out of breath. Clippings. I think we got him. I think we got him.
Told you my plan would work, Slims. Hold on, I need to sit down. I just make a loud thud on the ground.
And I completely out of breath go from being out of breath to being, your plan? That was my plan.
I thought of it first.
No, you didn't. That was my plan.
You couldn't cut yourself up. I could.
This is true.
Orthandrel and Thend, you do notice in particular that Astaroth and Rerit are covered in cuts and blood and look absolutely filthy.
I do think that looks like a Rerit plan.
Thank you, Super Slim.
Like potatoes with the ham and corn and stuff. So, well, they already made us too because I didn't know if you would like it or not.
No, that's fine.
Sigmund,
He's asleep in his crib.
Okay.
as the official chaperone.
Thank you.
I take it the town is not being attacked?
No. Me and Rerit, well, I came up with the idea.
I did.
I came up with the idea to cut ourselves up, pretend the Manticore was just outside the village, run into the village, and notify the guards that the Manticore was here, cause a panic, which gave Sigmund just enough time to go to the shrine, convince the purveyor of the fingernail clippings, and I'm wiggling my fingers in a derogatory way.
The High Sentinel of the Hand.
The High Sentinel of the Hand to relinquish him the fingernails.
At this, Gerdon his eyes will sort of drift over to Sigmund, and he'll kind of approach you and say, "Did you succeed then?"
I did. And I'll pull out of my pack the little pouch of fingernail clippings.
All right, Gurden will hold his hand out for it.
Hand it over.
All right, Gurden will take the pouch, and he briefly kind of opens it, and he looks inside, and he smiles broadly before fastening it again and puts it away in one of his own pockets. And he lets out a hearty laugh and says, "Well done! Well done! You five," and he kind of looks at Dorothandra for a moment and kind of says, "You four, I should say, have proven yourselves most capable. You have my thanks. And, of course, your rewards." And he reaches into a different pocket and he pulls out his own satchel of this black leather, and he drops it into your hand, Sigmund. It lets out a very distinctive clink as it lands in your palm.
I will just take a glance in to see at least what color.
You see the shine of gold.
Gonna cinch it back up, put it in my pack. Yep.
He turns his attention to the five of you and nods and says, "If you want to find the Manticore, you should head for Altdorf. It's not going to be in Altdorf, mind you. I think the city is far too large a target. However, once you arrive in Altdorf, I would heavily advise finding a boat that can take you, I would imagine going east would be your best option. Maybe heading towards Nome. I've received some information that makes me think very strongly that it's going to be heading in that direction. Maybe head for Weisbrook."
Weisbrook. Received. Thank you for the information.
You promised an investigation of a certain Wolfgang Hoffman.
He nods and says, "Wolfgang Hoffman. You said he was a sergeant?"
Yes.
Yes.
I'll make sure that it's taken care of."
No. Not that it's just taken care of, and I step forward, and I don't get right in his face when I approach him and say, "This honorable dwarf lost his job, his livelihood, because of this sergeant, ill-framing this honorable dwarf. Now, what your investigation yields will truly be some form of treachery, and I would hope that when it is discovered, that you exonerate our friend Thend here from all of his supposed crimes, and you reimpose his job."
He quirks an eyebrow, and does look over at Thend, and he says, "Would you want your job back, Master Dwarf?"
I only look for Hoffman to be investigated. I'll figure things out myself.
He nods and says,
"Say, are you sure?"
I'm very sure.
"Aye. All right then." And I'll turn back to him and say, "Oh, I apologize. Well, okay then. As long as the sergeant is investigated, I suppose that's all we need. I would also respectfully request that, if possible, when your investigation of the nail clippings is done, you send someone to notify us of the results. I'm sure you will be able to track us down at some point.
He nods and says, I agree. And he kind of looks he looks from each of you, like, he looks at each of you very carefully, with his eyes lingering in particular on Rarit and Dorthandril, and says, you are rather noticeable.
That's a good thing then. And this is proof. Wolf got better than the hammer.
Or, Sir Gurden, if we are headed to Altdorf, and I'll look at the rest of the party to see if they're affirming we're going to go do this.
Yep.
I know of some elves magically inclined in Altdorf, and if your concern of its connection to the ruinous powers is true, perhaps someone outside of the cult of Ulrich being able to verify the claims of its connection would be useful to you. Maybe a single nail clipping could be brought to them to confirm this heinous crime. And if it is true, I highly doubt they'd care.
He kind of pauses for a moment. He pauses and he watches you for a moment before he reaches down and pulls out the satchel that was given to him, and he opens it a little bit and he says, one nail? I don't see the harm in that. And he holds it out towards you, Dorthandril.
Dorthandril will take it and put it in his empty pouch.
I'm gonna take it. I was gonna eat it.
You're going to retrieve a single nail?
Yes.
All right. It's just a human nail. There doesn't seem to be anything special about it. Kind of gross.
I've built up some tolerance. I've been around Rarit for weeks.
That's true. You deposit it into your satchel, and he nods and cinches his back closed, and gives each of you a nod individually. He says, I do hope we meet again. Till then, be safe out there.
You too, Blackfur.
Aye. Be safe. May the blessings of Tal be upon you.
Would there happen to be some kind of ford of the Delbs in any region near Delberz?
He strokes his beard thoughtfully for a moment and says, well, I mean, the city of Delberz itself does as well as it does, as getting across the river is difficult. But you're already on the Altdorf side of the river. You shouldn't need to ford it unless you're wanting to head back north without passing through the city. In which case, you could probably ford the river. There's a spot a few miles to the west of here that you could cross, though it will be relatively dangerous. You need to go when it's not raining.
Thank you. I have a feeling that any event heading back to Middenheim would be best to avoid Delberz, and I will look at Rarit and the ringing of the bells.
Hey, it's got a nice charm to it. What if it's like when they're screaming at us, like, eat them? Oh, yeah, elf, I crushed him, man.
Gurden shakes his head and says, if there's nothing else, I must bid you all farewell.
Farewell,
Till
good
next
sir.
time.
And Gurden heads off into the forest, heading into the east.
Upon his departure, I'll turn to Dorthandril and I'll run up to him and grab his hand and shake it, even though he probably didn't offer his hand to me, and say, Dorthandril, it's so good to see you. I thought the worst of you. I thought something that might have happened to you. But listen, there's a witch hunter in the city, and he seems to think that your arrival corresponds with that of the Manticore. And I'm sure at some point, no matter where we go, he will find us again. And I just want you to know, I know my gods don't mean much to you, but by Tal and Sigmar, I will protect you. And even though you don't need my protection, but I will make sure that nothing happens to you.
The die preserve me. How wonderful I will say,
I'll eat him.
extracting my hand and trying to find something to wipe it on.
You can't quite put your finger on it, but you feel like he wasn't that interested in your confession just then.
Okay.
No point going back to the city. They'll be looking for.
All right, y'all gonna head along the road?
We can never return to this village again.
We can. Just let me get a tribe and I'll raise it to the ground.
Stroff. I could
Yes.
return long after everyone has passed away.
Hi, this is true.
Never is a very long time.
Give me 2 months, I can make it faster.
For now, we should get going though before the city comes for us tomorrow.
Towards Altdorf, then. Is that the general consensus?
Might as well. I wanted to go back and say hi to Gino, though. I hope
I
nobody's
know,
doing
big man.
well.
We'll go back eventually.
I will with my own tribe.
All right, so
To go back to Gino after you killed the Manticore. Imagine
yes,
his depressed face if you came back and said, "No, I didn't get my cauldron or kill the Manticore."
If I don't get a pot soon, it'll be fine. Also, Ruffy Slim, Sigismund, split the gold up, would you, Slim?
Yeah, I'll pull the laptop back out and count it out and split it up.
all right, there are 5. There's enough gold crowns in there for you each to have 2. There are 10 gold crowns.
Then I will give everyone 2 gold crowns.
Or will lick each gold crown he gets.
I'm sure whoever eventually receives those will appreciate that.
Will take his 2 gold crowns with a perplexed expression and put them in the party pouch he's carrying instead of his own pouch.
All right, you begin making your way towards Altdorf. As night fully starts to set in and the temperature begins to plummet a bit, you do find yourselves now wandering through the forest, which is a little concerning. With Delberz now far in the background, and the reasonable chance that there may still be a Manticore or other creatures looming about, you're making your way along the road, and it's unsettling. There's something. This forest feels particularly hostile to those trespassing within it, and you cannot help the feeling that you're being watched. So you're not sure how or from where, and no matter where you look or how quickly you look, there's never anything there. But the shadows do loom.
Oh, nasty bit of woods, this.
It's just some fucking woods.
There are
Any,
different kinds of woods.
Anyone know what to expect in this here? Maybe some large wolves? Maybe more?
For those of you who have traveled through here, being everyone but Thind, that does sound distinctly possible, yes.
That and so much more.
Anything attacks us, free food for me.
Well, I have a Strider Woodlands, and I know we're not really moving at the moment, but would that be applicable?
For Strider Woodlands, essentially, you feel very confident that, although, yes, this is a very dangerous, dark, and unsettling forest, this is nothing atypical, and there's really nothing at this point to be worried about, though you should be on high alert.
Okay. All right, boys, just keep your guard up. Right now, I don't think anything is out of the ordinary. Just keep your eyes peeled, keep your ears sharp, and just keep moving.
Yeah. Hey, if the witch hunter shows up again, I'll try and flatten him this time.
I'm not one for taking care of a servant of Sigma, but I can't disagree with that. If that witch hunter shows up again, I'll have to take drastic measures.
You won't, I will.
I respect that, big man. Thank you.
Only because I want to eat him and shit in his hat.
All right.
Would you use his hat as a topping, or would you just eat it regardless?
As the five of you are chatting and moving your way down the road, you see some light in the distance. And as you continue onwards, you very quickly spot what seems to be, it looks to be some sort of inn, rapidly approaching the lot of you down the road as you continue heading towards it. It is not moving towards you, I should make clear. You are heading towards it.
I was gonna ask.
And as you approach, it looks quite homely and well fortified.
You two look
Oh,
pretty
boys.
beat up. Do you want to take a rest?
Well, yeah, remember, I can't remember. Also, I've got a feeling. Fucking sneezes.
As the five of you approach, the doors to this inn on the outer wall are wide open. But as the five of you get close to it, you hear the crack of a whip and horses screaming in protest. And all of a sudden, this massive carriage comes hurtling towards the five of you, and y'all are directly in the pathway of this thing. And the men aboard it, the driver shouts, "Get out of the way!" And they seem to be making zero attempt to dodge the lot of you.
I will throw myself into the side path.
Go to the side.
Yeah, I
Don't
will
like being
jump
yeah,
out of the way.
I stay and stare it down.
Okay, Rarit, you are standing directly in the path of this carriage as it comes hurtling towards you. It is actually surprisingly larger than you with all of the stuff stacked atop it. And the man who the main driver is trying to control the horses, which are a little perturbed at the fact they are running right towards you. But the other man atop it pulls out a blunderbuss and aims it directly at you.
I'll shout out from the tree line. Oh, if there are any children in there, you might hurt them. Move!
I will casually step to the. So I'll step to the side, but when it goes past, I'm gonna cast something.
All right, the carriage goes hurtling past you, and the gunman keeps his gun trained on you until they are past you, and then he doesn't seem to care about your existence anymore beyond that.
When he no longer looks at me after he's passed, I'm gonna cast dart.
You're gonna cast what?
Dart.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for it. And what are you aiming at?
I'm aiming at his head.
Okay.
Also, how are the winds?
The winds are pretty normal. They're not gusting or particularly deadened.
Good.
And just so you know, this is not going to be subtle for your companions.
Oh no, he's still in the road. Only the drivers won't know what hit them.
Yeah, no. For the driver, it'll be awfully confusing. But for just so we're on the same page, your companions are about to very obviously see you cast a spell.
Yep.
Okay. So as the four of you are watching, because there's really nothing else to look at, you see this man lower a gun at Rarit, Rarrett finally steps aside for the carriage that goes hurtling past him. But as the carriage whirls past, Rarrett turns and starts to speak in a strange guttural tongue that none of you recognize. But you all kind of feel like for those of you that have no idea what's going on, being everyone that's not Dorothandrel, and Dorothandrel is a little more keyed in. Astaroth, you know he can use magic, but this is a little different than what you've seen before. You see him gesture with his hand as he speaks, and from his outstretched hand, a magical light that looks like an amber tooth almost comes hurtling out, flies forward, and seems to almost whirl around the wagon, where it slaps into the back of the head of the man with the gun, who lurches forward and slams into the little part of the carriage that comes up and keeps them in their seats. Luckily, his companion grabs onto him so he doesn't fall out, and the two of them kind of vanish as they are hurtling so quickly into the night.
Stupid Slim. That's not a lead belcher.
What? What was that?
Big man.
Reverse magic.
Oh,
Looks at
I'm
everyone.
sorry.
Oh, fuck, it's out of the bag now, isn't it?
Yeah.
what's that?
That was one of me tricks I could do.
What are your tricks? Is that related to how you can pull food out of your pocket?
Yeah?
Aye, but why? They didn't pose no threat to us.
They aimed a blunderbuss at me, so I responded in kind.
Once they stopped aiming a blunderbuss at you, I see.
Only because I know if he didn't have one, I would have stayed there and let their horses get scared and run off. Because they were running with that, I thought, I'll step to the side this once. But him with that blunderbuss, I see him again, I'm going to scoff his skull down.
Honestly, a little understandable, but still, we're trying to avoid the problems of Delberz. We can't just stir trouble everywhere we go.
That's your problem, yous lot. You got a butcher ogre. Did you know all ogre butchers do this, by the way?
No.
Well, now you do.
For those of you this is news to, you do have that kind of gut-sinking realization that not only do you have an ogre amongst your ranks, but this ogre can apparently utilize the terrifying and oft misunderstood art of magic.
Right, let's go see if this inn has rooms, and then to watch where you point the pistol.
Yeah, let's get some shut-eye.
Ben has pistol and the ogre can cast magic.
Don't go saying that out loud, I know you lot get scared. If they claim me openly, I don't care. But I don't want you lot to get affiliated.
Does anyone have the ability to read and write?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, those of you that can read and write, as you are entering through the gates of the inn, you see that the sign says the coach and horses.
Ooh.
So as you walk in, you see that it is a pretty nice little safe inn. It's got about a 12-foot stone wall surrounding it, protecting it from potential attacks and invaders. It completely encompasses the inn. Here, actually, let's get it up on the map. Why is it not behaving? There we go. Welcome to the Coach and Horses. So it is a fully enclosed space. It's got multiple buildings within it. There's two main structures. One of which when you enter through the main gate here, you come through and there is the main building has kind of an alcove, I guess you could say, or has a corridor that carriages are able to ride through that you can walk through, and it leads you to the back area where the stables are and the various coaches are kept and all of that stuff. As you arrive in, it is bustling with activity. There's plenty of people running around. The place reeks of fresh manure from all of the horses, and it is a pretty busy mess of a place. The courtyard is swarming with folks, many of which are working on like hooking up or moving horses around. Most of them seem to be getting horses set for the evening. You do see a pair of ostlers rubbing down a team of horses, and from the inn itself, you can hear laughter and voices carrying out into the night, and there is friendly warmth that is welcoming you within.
Gorathandel
Being
enters
trying
and
to
awaits
get a
himself.
pint.
How quickly this warmth ebbs is where it comes in.
All right, you move your way towards the inn proper, and let me get y'all's character tokens out here. Boop, 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 boop. And then let me size y'all appropriately. Okay, and then real quick, I need to grab. Oh my gosh, I don't have my. Oh gosh, hold on a second. I totally forgot to get a in soundtrack. Grab one real quick. Why don't we take a quick like bathroom or snack break for anyone that needs it? So everyone take just like a quick like 5-minute break.
Okay.
All right.
That way I can grab this. It's okay. Oh, this one. No, that's like just. What is this?
Welcome, honored.
Nope, that's actual talking. Weird. Oh, these are NPC scripts. Heck. Okay, I guess we'll just use that one that was half decent. How you doing, chat? We've officially gotten there. We are officially at the beginning of the enemy within. At long last. Glorious. So this is all a tutorial? Yeah, Hail Cursewell, we're gonna be switching over to Foundry once we reach Bogenhofen. I am absolutely... I did not have any experience with Foundry prior to this campaign, and only recently got like really well introduced to it, and was like, oh, this is significantly better. So we will definitely be switching in the very near future. Yeah. The Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay modules on Foundry are like just, they're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, because I did get it set up nicely on here, but it took like a just stupid amount of effort. All right, who all is back?
I'm back.
I'm here.
Okay, Hurls, you here?
Yep.
Okay, so everybody's back. All right. So you enter. You pass by a couple of. You pass by a coach that looks like it's getting set up for the morning. You see some livery on it, which, for those of you who would actually recognize it, being probably just Sigmund, though Asteroids might as well, you do recognize the livery of the Ratchet Lines, which is a pretty famous coaching company. It's kind of like one of the big two. It's the older of the two, but it's pretty well known. And as you all enter the inn, you find a bright and cheerful place, which is quite a nice change of pace. You can smell food cooking, and the room is filled with laughter, mainly coming from this table, where you can see two men sitting, coachmen from the looks of them, with their outdoor wear and rather gruff appearance, sitting at a table with a halfling. And the halfling has a very peculiar appearance, as she has paint on her face. She's got what looks to be clown makeup for those of you who have actually seen clowns. But she's definitely has a very theatrical appearance to her, and she is tossing around a set of throwing knives, much to the amusement of the two men sharing a table with her. Elsewhere in the room, you do notice that staring at you, a lot of you as you come in, is a very beautiful but cold-looking noblewoman who gives you the look that someone gives to a cockroach that has managed to crawl into their kitchen. She seems none too pleased by your existence. And sitting at her table is a much taller and heavily built woman who doesn't seem to be paying attention to much at all, and then a small and mousy looking girl that is just kind of staring down at the table and seeming just trying not to be noticed. Furthermore, you do see a young man over here seemingly absorbed in a book, completely oblivious to your existence. And over here at the bar, you see two gentlemen working it, standing behind it. And one of them is a thin, taller individual who is cleaning a set of glasses, while a plumper, older man is leaning with both elbows on it, looking to the five of you as you enter. And then finally, there is a somewhat foppish, well-groomed gentleman of definitely foreign descent who is hanging around the edge of the bar, lazily playing with some cards. And as you walk in, taking in this much happier scene than what you've seen previously, the fatter man warmly opens his arms to all of you and says, "Greetings! Welcome to the Coach and Horses. Do have a seat. Take this one by the fire. Will you be nice and warm? Would any of you like any drinks and food? Yes, of course, drinks first. How foolish of me." And he starts to grab tankards without waiting for any of you to respond. And above him, you hear a similar tone of voice from a crow that's perched up above that says, "Welcome to the seat. Take a nice by the foolish. Would you drink by the horses?" Seemingly in mimicry of the man below.
But more talking, King Bird. I want one.
Oi! I'll turn to Dothandrel and say, would you like a taste of the human beer, I guess? I don't want to insult you by offering you a drink that you would not prefer.
Human beer. Well, it's likely to be as good as your water.
So I'll turn to the barkeep and say, "Oi, one for everyone, and do me a favor and bring up a bucket for the ogre here."
He claps his hands together and says, of course, of course." And he nudges the man next to him, who grumbles a little bit, but sets about with everyone getting drinks for the lot of you.
Don't worry, boys, I'll buy the first round.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Fair enough, Slim. Bit of a squeeze through that door it was.
All right. As he starts pouring drinks, he says, "It'll be $3 a pint for the ogre. Probably 3 silver to be fair. We could just bring him a keg."
Ooh, I'll have a keg, I will.
So would one gold cover that, or no?
1 gold would cover significantly more than that. Like, so 3 silver. So there are 20 silver, right, to a gold, and you need 3 silver for a keg, and then so 4 silver total would cover it.
I only have gold pieces, so if I give him 1 gold, how much change would I get back?
He very quickly deposits the gold in his breast pocket, but he will return you 16 shillings.
Okay.
And as you sit, he gestures to the drinks that says, I think you'll like our drinks around here. My man over here, Herpin, is our local brewer.
I believe so, and I'll turn to my companions and say, "Drink up, boys. We've earned this."
Oh, yes. More bless all us.
All right, does everybody drink?
Absolutely.
Okay, everybody take a average consume alcohol test.
Has another day passed, or is it still nighttime?
It is still nighttime.
Okay.
Rarit, your sickness is affecting you now, so you will be at -10 going forward. Also, did we ever roll for how long your sickness lasts?
We never rolled for that because it was still under incubating.
Okay. So roll me real get the correct book here. I believe it's this one. Here we go. Roll me a d10.
Okay, cookie.
Okay, so for 6 days.
Oh.
Oh, that's it. Well, I'm better. What are you smoking out of sickness?
All right, as you all drink, it's actually surprisingly good. It's significantly better than the swill you had back in Midnheim, especially when you were in the poor quarter. And there's like a nice warm richness to the drink that is both pleasant and unexpected. Though I think due to the increased quality, it hits most of you harder than you expected. Then it's passable by dwarf standards. You've definitely had better. Significantly better. It's nothing compared to Dwarf Brew, but it's not, you know, as far as like water goes, it's all right. So Astaroth, Sigmund, and Dorthandrel failed. Okay. So just remember, you can fail up to your toughness bonus worth of times, and then you start running into problems. Then, as you are sipping away at your drink, though, you do notice that the man down the bar from you is watching your group. But as you kind of turn and look at him a little bit, he immediately turns his face down and pretends to be studying his wine.
I'll wrap my arms around that and be like, "Ethan, how you doing, lad? How you feeling, boy? Good to see you. I haven't seen you since I haven't gotten the chance to talk to you since the heist at last place we were at."
Shut it.
We can save that for later.
Oh,
We have few too many eyes here.
I just lean down to him, then to go,
why is he acting weirder now? Why is he all touchy?
It's the drink.
Can't hold his
Don't
drink,
worry
sorry.
about him. Just keep an eye on him. Make sure he doesn't get into trouble. You can hold him back.
Ted, it's me you gotta keep an eye on.
Gustav drops off a keg in front of you, Rarit, which you take your first swig from. And he looks around and goes, "So, what brings you to my inn? What brings you to the Coach and Horses? Where are you from? Where are you from? Tell me."
Who wants to go first? Because we're all from different necks of the and the land.
We're from up north. As I sort of get up and head towards the guy that was looking at us.
No, we're not. I'm from Gristletoothed Valley.
GM,
Yeah.
can I roll for perception to see if I notice the gentleman staring at Fend?
Sure. Just make it average.
Average? Okay.
You definitely noticed, and it wasn't that he was staring at Fend, it was more that he was watching the lot of you, but trying to be a little bit inconspicuous about it. But he was not apparently as subtle as he thought he was.
Well, without getting up from my seat, I'll look at him and say, "Hey, you got a problem over there? I'll mess you up right quick, I will."
Slim, sit down, you're drunk.
He holds up his hands and says, "Oh, no, I have no problem with you. I was simply interested in who came in."
Why are you looking then?
He strokes the tip of his nose a little bit and he says, forgive my rudeness. Where I come from, staring is not seen as a bad thing. Yes, it is seen as means you are interesting. You are the star.
And where do you come from, good sir?
Oh, I come from many lands, but I was born in fair Estalia.
Ah, Stalia. Alright.
Yes, it's very nice this time of year.
Further away than Gristle-Tooth Valley is where it's at for it.
That doesn't help.
He kind of wraps his knuckles on the bar and says, barkeep, I'd like to buy a round for my new friends here. Please take it as an apology for my apparent rudeness.
Well, if you can afford an ogre, by all means.
Sort of gives Reverend a wary look and says, he seems like that keg will have him busy for a bit. But I could buy him a cup to add to it.
A cup? Lad shakes the keg. It's fucking empty. I thank you all.
You've got like another good pull or two out of the keg before it's done.
There is still left, but I'm good with this, I am. Besides, you sound sometimes like one of those Bretonians I once met. And
he definitely has some very similar qualities.
Does he smell like one?
No, he actually seems quite clean. He seems very debonair.
You don't smell like them, so I'll let you off.
He does drop some coins on the bar that vanish under the barkeep's hands, and 4 more drinks are given to the man-sized among you.
Thank you. No offense taken, but I'm wondering myself, what brings you all the way here?
Well, you see, I am here to visit some family of mine.
Family? In the Empire?
Yes, I have a cousin who's staying in Altdorf, you see.
Can I do just an insight check just to see if this guy is being fully forthright?
Sure.
Or intuition?
It would be intuition, yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, seems like he's telling the truth.
All right, I'll leave him with Astaroth then.
All right, he raises his cup in a toast and says, "To your health, my friends," and he drinks.
Health, and your health as well.
Fuck my off one of these 4 guys.
Here, Rert, wash it down with this, and I will hand him the mug I just got.
I just cough a bit of phlegm up and just go.
Oops.
The innkeeper comes up, and for anyone that takes another drink, make sure you roll another consume alcohol test.
Okay, I'm gonna do that now from my keg.
For anyone that failed a consume alcohol test, you do take a -10 penalty for successive tests.
Still average though.
Yes, it's still average.
I'm a head to just out the door and just sort of keep watch outside.
Okay. As you're heading for the door, the innkeeper says, Master Dwarf, please, is there any food I can get you? Is there anything, please, have a seat, I don't want you to be out in the cold. I can tell from the way you're sniffling, you're not feeling 100%. It's rare to see a dwarf sniffling.
I must... Oi, then, you better eat some. I know you've got a little bit of an injury from back in a couple hours ago. You better eat your fill, my friend.
I'll take your finest dish. I just want to get some air.
My finest dish. Very well, Master Dwarf, very well.
And I'll just step out for a bit.
Perhaps Raret, you'll accompany Then to eat outside?
Sure. Why not?
Gustav says, oh yes, of course, no problem. I'll have the food sent out to them right away. What of the rest of you? Could I get you dinner? You all look so hungry coming in from that cold. Tell me, which direction were you traveling from? You said to the north?
From the north.
Right, so did you come from Mindenheim then?
Yes, you could say that.
Any news? I'd love to hear about what's going on in Mindenheim. Any exciting developments in the City of the Wolf?
Nothing major. There's been a Manticore that's been raiding the province here and there. Occasional town and village, but as far as the city itself, as Mindenheim is concerned, nothing to report.
Ah, a Manticore. We've heard talk about the Manticore. It hasn't attacked around here. Good thing too. It'd be bad for business, but we've heard people mentioning it. Haven't seen it myself. Have you seen the Manticore? Have you lot seen it? What's it look like?
I've
We have
seen
not-
it with their eyes. I have.
Yeah, the ogre has seen it. I have not myself seen it, but I can tell you this. It slaughtered a whole squad of Knights Panther. 12 Knights Panther to be exact. Horses and all. Completely decimated them. Not even a slick of armor was left of them.
Sigmar's balls! You see him make the sign of the hammer. And he pales a little bit at this. It says, troubling times. Well, if the Emperor would get off his arse and actually do something about making things safe around here.
Don't you worry. The Emperor will protect him. We're on the hunt.
He lets out a lot of... He starts tisking to himself. After a few minutes, some hot food is brought out. If any of you want to buy dinner for the evening.
I will turn around to Then and say, Oi, Then! Yeah, I know he's outside. Your food is here, my friend. Come eat. Come sit next to me and have a meal.
I'd like to stay out for a bit, but this one's on me, and I'll toss Astaroth a gold.
I'll take the gold coin and hand it to the barkeep.
He raises an eyebrow and says, My, some big spenders this evening. Could I, while I'm taking care of this, could I ask if you're looking to stay the night? We have some lovely rooms. We still have 2 rooms available, but we also have the common room space available. And he kind of looks out towards the ogre and says, and perhaps the stables for your large friend?
We are looking for rooms for the night. If there's anything possible other than the stables for my good friend the ogre.
I'll
If not,
stay in the stables, you daft sod. I don't mind.
I know you don't mind. I just want better for you. But if there's something else,
I thought he was being considerate of the horses.
Horses out.
The Herpin, the lanky man, does sort of whisper something. You hear him go, Gustav, what about the horses? Maybe you shouldn't be alone with the ogre. And Gustav's eyes kind of bulge and he goes, pardon me. Yes, it would be terribly draft out there. How rude of me. Yes, no, the ogre should be just fine in the common room. There's plenty of space.
and you have my word, in the common room, the ogre will cause no foul.
Good, of course. the coin vanishes and he says, "Will any of you be staying in the private rooms, or will you all just be staying in the common room?"
Thendrill's gonna look at him and the crown he just palmed and say, "Well, for a crown, I assumed some of us better be."
Well, I could set aside both rooms for whichever of you would like to stay in there for this crown, though tonight's food and any of you staying in the common room would cost a little more.
That sounds like a plan. Why don't we do this? Why don't Dosandro and Sigmund take one of the rooms, and me and Then can take the other room. The big man can have the common room.
Ah, delightful. Then for the common room and tonight's dinner, that'll be another. And he sort of picks at the hair he's got coming down, the mutton chops he's got coming down, and says, "That should add up to roughly another." That math.
And how much does a room and food in Nuln, the bustling metropolis, cost?
How much would that cost, Sotek?
Probably just a hair more than what Gustav is charging, but for how nice the coach and horses is, it's actually a pretty fair rate.
Nuln has protections of its own, so paying for those here isn't unreasonable.
How much are we looking at, good bad?
He asks you for about another. He asks you for about another 7 silver to cover all the food, including the larger portions for the ogre, and the ogre's sleeping situation.
I will fork over 7 silver, and I will look to the gang and say, "Hey, just pay me back whenever you can."
Gustav nods and goes, "Excellent, excellent." And food is distributed to the lot of you, and it's a pretty nice setup. There's like a nice meaty stew that's actually got some sliced vegetables thrown into it, like carrots and potatoes and such. And there's even some fairly fresh baked bread that comes along with. Like, they've got a pretty good situation coming here. For the ogre, they actually just send out several portions of just the stew. You know what it's time for, Rarit?
Yep, nice check time.
Thank goodness I put some more into willpower, but it's -10. Oh, this is worse.
I mean, there are vegetables in it.
Rerit would pick out vegetables. He hates vegetables. Challenging, I take it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, -10, because I am now ill. Uh-oh.
You gonna keep it?
I could get better, but I can also get rolled. I think I'll keep it.
All right. Then, as your food is brought out to the two of you, you start eating a little bit, and you just start hearing these horrible, disgusting noises from right next to you, and realize Rarit's lost himself, and he just starts gorging on all of this food that's been brought out to him. And the sounds are loud and grotesque, and while those further back in the inn, the two coachmen who are guffawing and just losing it at some things that the halfling is saying to them as she continues to toss around daggers and tell jokes, the 4 of you and the innkeeper, along with his right man and this man supposedly from Astalia, all can only grimace and look on in disgust as Rarit just devolves into consuming all the food brought to him with voracious glee. Rarit, how much additional food do you still have on you?
Let's have a look. How much more meat do I have? Oh, where is it?
You get quite a bit.
No, I've only got 2 pieces left.
You only have 2 strips of meat left?
One hunk and then one bit of the bear.
All right. You will consume your hunk.
Okay.
See, I'm doing this. I'm just. Hey, you want me to hold you back at all?
Look at you go.
Unless you want me to have some of yours.
Okay. You keep at it then.
Rarent, gain a fatigue condition.
Fuck.
All right. So the stallion looks on Gross, and he kind of scoots closer to you 3. It says, must be quite the trial to keep such a terrible beast among you.
Well, the roads can be dangerous. Dorthunder will say as he lays out his entire set of cutlery, adjusts his bowl and tankard to be just so. Takes out the mirror, examines himself, and will nod and will elegantly begin drinking his soup.
As you, the 3 of you are trying to eat, Gustav continually bombards you with various questions and seems incapable of ceasing talking, other than to let you, like, get a small answer in. But the other man goes, but how rude, I have not introduced myself yet. I am, Philippe.
Oh, nice to meet you. Excuse me for a moment. I'll be right back, and I will excuse myself from the table and leave out the door to Rarent and Thend.
I am Dorthandrel Dandyheart.
Philippe looks at Sigmund expectantly.
Sigmund Faust von Serg.
He nods with a broad smile, and Gustav just interrupts and says, and I'm Gustav Bondoberger, and welcome again to my inn.
Who came up with the delightful motif of the coach and horses? So inspired.
Ah, well, that would be yours truly, inspired, I know. Maybe not as fancy as what they might have back in Elflands, but, it's done well for itself over the years. I'm quite proud of her.
Well, it is much better than I assumed I would be finding on this road.
He nods and says, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking, Master Elf? I would be delighted to hear more. I don't get many elf customers.
I would not doubt that. I was most recently staying in Marienburg.
Ah, Marienburg. The great jewel of the sea.
Dorthunder looks a little offended at this, but won't make a comment.
He nods and continues yammering on, but Philippe gets a little closer and says, my friends, if you don't mind me interrupting, perhaps we could grab a table further back, yes?
I look at all the occupied tables further south.
Maybe he knows about another room or something.
Perhaps, but Philippe, you're visiting family?
Yes, my cousin in Othdorf. It's been quite some time since I've been in his neck of the woods.
Did you take a boat up to Salismund then, heading south?
Oh no, I've been traveling by carriage.
Dorothandrel loses interest.
Astaroth, what are you doing outside?
I'm gonna approach Thend in my kind of drunken stupor and say, "Oi, friend, are you alright?"
Oh, yes. Just, unnerved about this witch hunter.
If he comes close, I'll eat him.
Well, That's why we're out here.
This is
You
true.
might want to stay away from this one. He got into a bit of a thing again.
Noted. But I agree. The witch hunter hasn't left my mind, despite my, inebriation. It's just something we'll have to deal with when the time comes, if he follows us or not. But you have my word, I will do my best to make sure that all of us are safe.
I'll let you know if I see anything. I'll
Are
be
you
in
hungry?
in a second, though.
Are you sure? Are you hungry? Do you want me to bring you out any food?
Oh, we've been eating.
You heard me eat.
Glance over at Raret.
Aye. Alright.
I'm
Well, I'm gonna head back inside now, Mr. Thend, but you let me know if you need anything, and I'll turn to Big Raret, and I'll say, Big Man, you too. If you need another keg, you let me know.
I'm good for the night. I'm coming back in.
And I will proceed back inside.
Of course. I'll be a minute.
All right, as you head back in, Philippe gestures broadly in the direction of you lot and says, "Come, my friends, could I perhaps interest you in a game of Scarlet Empress, something to pass the time?"
Oh, that sounds like a good pass of time, and I'll shake his hand and I'll say, I'm Astaroth. I don't think we've been formally introduced.
Ah, I am Philippe Descartes.
Nice to meet you. Well, what are the rules of this game?
Come with me and I shall explain on the way. And he leads you back to this bench area. Raret, you kind of have to squeeze past a few people. First, you squeeze by this young man studying a book, and when you bump into him, he initially turns around looking infuriated. But the moment he sees you, all the color drains from his face, and he immediately turns back around and tries to shrink into the book he's reading.
That's right. Keep your eyes to yourself, Slim.
That's right. Don't you mess with the big man.
Northend will glance at the book to see what he's reading, if it's interesting or not.
He notices you attempting to glance at the book and immediately turns his body so that you cannot, and he gives you an annoyed look.
I will firmly place my hand on his shoulder and forcibly move him and say, Oi, my friend is interested in what you're reading. You best show him what you're reading.
Astaroth, you're drunk.
He snaps the book shut. He says, I'm studying for my exams. Please leave me alone. It's very important.
And what are you studying, good sir?
A book. I will push Astaroth away from him and towards Raret.
Oh, alright. I'm just trying to help you out.
Dorthandrel, the cover of the book does read as a fairly dry and boring academic book. It does not appear to be anything remotely interesting to look at.
Nothing about boats.
It is listed as leeches and their curative properties.
Oh, God.
Humans.
I make it a firm belief never to be injured in this country.
Oh, it's just gonna be hard to get around. I'm so fat. Good.
The coachmen are too busy laughing and cheering, slamming their mugs on the table, as the halfling does a very impressive maneuver where she tosses one throwing knife in the air and then tosses another in the air, and she proceeds to catch the first knife between two of her fingers and then catches the second knife by having it land balanced upon the pommel of the first knife.
Astaroth is amazed by this.
She gestures in a grandiose fashion, there we go, and bows, standing atop the table, and the two men cheer for her and toss a few more brass pennies onto a small pile that's been forming. And she bows again, says, thank you, appreciate your applause. And when she looks up and sees the three of you, she smiles quite wide and says, "An ogre, an elf, and a man walk into a bar. I feel like that's the start of something."
It's not. I'm just
Hopefully
trying
a
to
restful
get
evening.
super slim.
It's the start of 3 brass pennies landing in that pile for you not to continue, and I will toss 3 pennies in.
She laughs merrily and says, "Oh, much obliged, Master Elf. Could I have the charitable sir's name?"
Dorathandrel Dandyheart.
"Ah, Dorathandrel, well, you can call me P. And for that charitable donation, please allow me to entertain you for just a moment." And she leans down and picks up a lute that was laying in the chair and strums across it for a moment. And then as she's about to start, she pauses. She goes, "Any requests?"
Rurk looks confused, going,
I don't know what this is. We didn't have this back in my own Tooth Valley.
"Oh, don't worry, big man. You'll pick it up quick."
I'm gonna look towards where Philippe is presumably watching us, trying to get us to enter the room. He's like, "Do you know sweetest stallion ladies?"
She nods and goes, "As does any proper performer." And she starts into a fairly bawdy tune that very quickly entertains the nobleman, and you can see a very heavy rolling of eyes from the noblewoman at the furthest back table, who seems heavily displeased by this particular bawdy tune. Descartes looks properly enthused, though. Ogre, you are able to squeeze by. The coachman scoot around to make room for you.
Thank you, Slim. Fucking hell. It was more simpler back at Spitalfell. Oh,
At least the ceilings here are high.
"That's true, they are. But now I've got a new plan what I want to do. But that's for later."
The noblewoman looks absolutely disgusted by your existence, and she scowls the closer you get to her table.
I just look at going,
the fuck are you looking at?
At this, the significantly stronger and taller looking woman looks up at you with a very firm frown and says, "That's no way to address her. Mind your manners, brute."
And who are you to talk, Slim? It's just another Slim I'm looking at.
The noblewoman mutters something to the more mousy young girl next to her, who stands up and very nervously does a small bow. It says, This is Lady Isolde Strudendorf."
Never heard of her in my entire life.
Oh, you got a problem with the big man. You have to go through both of us.
Shut up, you drunk idiot.
Astroth, calm down.
Never heard of you, Slim, ever.
She looks genuinely insulted by this comment, and glares at you and says, I am a noblewoman from Middenheim. My family traces its lineage back far upon in the noble blood of the Drakewald."
You're from Middenheim? I just came from Middenheim.
"Yes, I could smell the road on you."
So what? You smell the road on me? Everything smells.
"No, everything does not smell. Perhaps if you were not so disgustingly filthy, you'd be able to realize that stink that follows you everywhere is just you."
I know, it's great. Also, you don't know what a noble is. You don't even look like a tyrant or a slaughter master.
You've heard mention of nobles. They kind of just come off as the kind of people that you're generally not supposed to probably get too messy with, because whenever they get upset about something, a lot of people with spiky weapons show up all of a sudden. and they usually play very unfairly.
True, but I'm an ogre, so. And I've been alone for too long, so it's more of.
The larger woman does give you a pretty dangerous look. She doesn't move, but you're definitely getting some warning daggers from that direction.
I just look at her going, "You got a problem?"
She leans back in her chair and looks up at you, and she goes, "If you continue to be rude, yes, I would have a problem."
If you don't like looking at someone you don't like the look of, look down at your own feet then.
I don't care about your look. I care that you address her ladyship with proper manners, as everyone should.
She's not my tyrant, nor my teacher.
No, but these are also not your lands.
Maybe not. But a butcher walks where a butcher walks. Good day.
A butcher walked through that door.
It's true, can I get through this door?
You can try. It looks like it's. You can try. You can try and squeeze through. You can try and force your way through.
You Slims get in first.
Gurden will give a slight bow towards the nobles at your ladyship, pardon, and try to scurry past Rarit and the bodyguard.
Lady Isolde does return your nod with one of her own.
Get in here, you drunk idiot. Astaroth.
I'm
Right,
coming.
fling you in.
All right. Here I am.
I'll attempt to squeeze in, but if I can't get in, I'll just lean in through the door just so I'm there.
You have a very quick and distinct feeling that if you attempt to force your way through the door, best case scenario, you're gonna shatter that doorway but get in successfully. And there are many more worst case scenarios.
I will then just lean through the door. I will.
Not in, I'll just lean through here. Weird Slim.
As you get yourself situated into place, you hear over the shouting and merriment of the coachman, the sound of chairs moving, and look to see Lady Isolde standing up and her attendant following swiftly after her, and they vanish upstairs, presumably to retire from the evening, though more likely to get away from you. And what you guess is their bodyguard watches you for a moment, and she kind of does the thing where she kind of holds up a hand and points at her eyes and then points at you, and then follows them.
As she does that to me, I just give a devilish grin to her, and I then do the exact same back.
She doesn't seem terribly bothered. You do know when she stands up and is following them that for a human, especially a woman, she is huge.
That's a tall Slim.
There is a lot of muscle. This woman, you're actually vaguely impressed.
As I've seen her then stand a bit, if she's still got looking, and then look at her and just give her once a respectful look, I'm going,
You look strong. I'll take back what I said to you.
She looks at you for a moment and just sort of gives a very curt nod and says, I am strong.
I'd like to have an arm wrestling at one point if you get a chance, but you're clearly busy.
Perhaps later. I must tend to Lady Isolde.
Oh, okie dokie then. Tall, strong Slim.
With that, three of them vanished upstairs to their quarters. Then, what are you doing outside?
I think I start heading back in if I don't see anything.
You do not. And the workers outside have actually closed up the gates for the night. So if anybody else wants to come in, they're going to have to wait till morning, unless they feel like climbing over a 12-foot wall.
or bashing it through.
Or that.
Hey, where'd the rest of the group go? I asked
Over
the
here,
barkeep.
Stunty.
And I'll head on in.
Alright, friend, you see anything outside?
Get back
Looks
in,
like
you.
nothing out there. At least for tonight.
Well, that's good. At least we can get one good, nice round of sleep.
I'm gonna need several. This thing's come on.
All right, as you all squeeze in, Philippe starts to explain the rules of the game, and he explains that it's a game of chance. Scarlet Empress is played with cards, and he explains the rules and basically challenges you all to a game and says, but of course, to keep things fun and interesting, we should play for stakes, yes?
Worse.
How about, let's start off with, let's say 2 silver each. And he pulls out 2 silver coins and lays them on the table.
Is this a game that we know?
Scarlet Empress is a game you would be definitely familiar with from City Life. It's a fairly popular card game that revolves around...
So know as Laura Reichland or no?
You don't need Lord Reichland to know about it. It's popular enough that if you've really ever done any gambling, you've almost assuredly heard of it. The only one who probably wouldn't be super familiar with it is Rarit.
Yeah, no. Anyway, this is stupid because it's got nothing to do with fighting in a pit.
$2 silver.
All right, anyone who's going to be playing in the pot, make sure you toss in 2 silver. So yeah, Scarlet Empress is essentially it's a game where you get 2 rounds of cards, and you are essentially there's a deck of cards, and everyone goes around drawing a set of cards, and your goal is to try and get the best hand while avoiding drawing the Scarlet Empress card, which if you get that card, you instantly lose. So your goal is basically to have the best hand possible without accidentally busting. All right, so Dorothandro's playing, Thind is playing, Astaroth, are you playing?
Yeah, I'll put down 2 silver.
Okay, what about you, Sigmund?
You also put down 2 silver.
Rarid, are you going to tell someone to put in money for you?
No, it's not going to play. It's just going to... Stupid slim game. No fighting is not fun.
You do hear from behind you, Rarid, you hear the halfling go, "Oi, big man!
Yeah?
You want to see a magic trick?"
At first, hearing this, Raritt turns to the others instantly.
None of you said anything, did you?
Don't worry about it, Rarit. You'll be fine.
I did not, big man.
Nah.
Go on then.
I'll just like stand here so I can keep an eye on the halfling showing while I also gleam into this room every now and then.
Okay, the halfling gestures to you and says, No, come closer. You have to be very close.
Fine.
As you approach her, she reaches up her hand. She says, "Oh, I'm sorry, dear. Can you squat down for me a bit?"
Ah, bloody hell. Okay, there we go.
All right.
Still hurt. The cut still hurt.
Roll me a challenging perception check.
Oh, fucking hell. This is going to be hard. Yeah, there's no fucking.
All right.
No way. I can see.
Yeah.
So, as you lean down, and she reaches her hand up behind your ear and pulls it back, and she is holding a fully cooked chicken leg, like a chicken drum. And she goes, "Look what I found back here."
He'll look at her. Don't wave that in front of me if you want me to make a scene.
She goes, "Oh, I thought you'd like that, big man."
I do, but
looks at the room. Sometimes an ogre can't control himself.
Well then, and she reaches forward and just like slips it in your pocket. You know, like have you ever seen movies where people like slip like their card or something into someone's front pocket? She does that into your butcher apron, but with the chicken leg.
Shit. Gotta resist.
Roll a average willpower check.
Just
Even though you're at minus 20.
so average cool check then.
Yes, cool check. Sorry.
Okay. Average.
Actually, because you've glutted yourself, make it easy.
Oh, okay.
So you'll be at a total of plus 20.
I mean plus 30 then, because the easy's plus 40.
Yes, but you are sick and you are fatigued.
This is true. So. Okay, so easy.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You have a chicken leg for later. Nice.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that. What do we call halflings? I think we just mistook them for stanties, we did. Yeah, I think we just called you stanties, but you're not really stanties.
Well, a lot of ogres just literally know them as halflings.
Yeah. But like a nickname is try we were thinking of.
She nods and starts showing us some other tricks, but while she's doing that, the game begins. All right, everyone who is playing cards, roll me a challenging gambling check. And I will roll for Felipe secretly.
Is it still nighttime or is it into the next day?
Still.
Yeah, it's nighttime. It'll be nighttime until you go to bed, unless y'all party like crazy.
Which Robert will not really want to do.
Like to reroll.
And then we're also at minus 10 for each failed alcohol check and minus 10 for sickness.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Total minus 20.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh my.
Oh my god!
That is a 1.
All right. So you all go around in the 2 rounds, and as everyone lays out their cards, no one's hand appears particularly great at all until it's Thin's turn. And Thin Waterbottom's very Thin, how do you present your hand that you know, based on all the times you've played this against other dwarfs and manlings and halflings, your hand is literally the best possible hand in the game. Like, literally, it doesn't matter what the other players have.
Gosh. So like, what's it? This is like revealing hands now?
Yes.
All right, I throw it down and just ha, and just excitedly show it off.
Felipe's eyebrows go up, and he goes, "Oh, very impressive, my friend. That is I'm an idiot. That is a hand."
Hey, if you wanna get back your winnings, we can play again.
I would be most interested, but why don't we, 2 shillings is a little boring for my take. Why don't we play for a little more? What about, let's say, 4 each? So, and he takes out 4 shillings and puts them down. Then you want a pot of 10 shillings.
Dang.
Does anyone want to join in for 4?
Azeroth will join in for 4.
Okay.
Ooh, 4. Are you interested in a bit more?
Absolutely.
What do you propose?
I will put in, let's see here. I'll put in 8.
Oh, wow. Raising to 8. Okay. He whistles, but then gets a dangerous grin, says, "I do love a proper challenge, and he will put in 4 more shillings for a total of 8.
Sigmund will not join in this.
Too rich for my blood.
Thandrel's going to look at Sigmund and Astaroth and himself. And slowly going to pull out a gold crown for the 3 of us.
Oh!
Sigmund's gonna just shake his head.
Alright, then he takes 2 shillings from the pot, or 4 shillings, for him and Astaroth.
Okay. And Philippe goes, well, let's play. All right, everyone roll a gamble check. I forget, can I do GM rolls?
Average?
No, they're challenging.
Thunder will stop pretending he doesn't know what he's doing.
Damn, Thind.
Then don't know. Streak.
Orthandrel is going to watch Philippe to see if he's cheating, though, because as a skilled gambler, this is a lot of money.
Okay, roll a perception check. You are, it'll be a challenging perception using your eyes.
All right.
Everything looks pretty above board.
Great.
You all start showing your hands. Then you have another fantastic hand. How do you want to reveal it?
I got it. And I'll throw it down.
You throw it down, and once again, it is a very impressive hand. But Philippe goes, "Oh, so close, my friend, so close." And he very slowly lays out his cards on the table, and you see that they are just a tiny bit better than yours.
Oh, and you got me there, and I'll push over the money.
All right. He stacks it up and goes, "The night is young. Here, let me buy drinks for us, and we could do another round, and maybe this time." And he pulls out that gold crown that Dorothandro laid down and drops it on the center of the table.
Maybe one more. I'll put it down.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Gold crown buy-in.
Absolutely not.
Thandrel shrugs. That was my last crown.
All right, so Then's in. Astaroth, are you in? He had to step away for a moment.
He had to step away for a moment.
Okay, so it's just you and the dwarf? All right. It is, so roll a challenging gamble check.
I would like to re-roll that.
You, what a Jesus!
I can't imagine why.
From rolling like fire to just to the. There you go.
Oh.
But it's okay, he might roll worse. We'll see. Okay, and there's one other thing I need to do. Ooh, okay, so he just sleight of handed to give him a significant bonus to his gambling roll, so he's gonna crush then, but he did cheat. So now what I need to do is roll perception for everyone at the table. Okay, I want, I need everyone to roll me a challenging perception test real quick. So to 17. What is this sleight of hand?
Minus
64.
30? Wait, what?
Minus 10 because I'm sick and I failed to.
Yeah, Sigmund's pretty.
alcohol test.
Sigmund's pretty drunk, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, crit! You son of a bitch.
Oh, that's one of those hot fucking amazing numbers right now. Oh my god.
Literally, the only thing that would have allowed you to win this roll was. Literally, the only way you could have possibly won this roll was with a crit. None of you had any chance otherwise. Oh my god. Alright.
Dwarf eyes.
Then, as the two of you are playing, and you are drawing your cards and considering your odds, you see that as Philippe draws a card, just for the briefest of moments, you catch and realize that he actually drew 2 cards. And as he holds up to his hand, he very expertly, one of the cards is very swiftly, so fast that even the elf doesn't detect it. One of the cards is palmed and vanishes up his sleeve.
As soon as I see this, I put my hand on the table in front of him and just look him in the eye. Hey, don't think I don't see that.
He looks up at you and raises his eyebrow and says, "See what?"
And upon hearing Fen say this, I'll say, Fen, what do you mean? What did you see?
And I'll point to where he's pocketed the card.
Philippe, his face darkens and he goes, "Are you accusing me of cheating, dwarf?"
I will immediately dodge across the table and tackle him.
Roll a, do you have, oh god, brain fart. Weapon skill or melee brawling?
Melee what?
Brawling?
I don't believe so. That would be under main, right?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Or on your combat page.
It'd be in skills in that.
Yeah, it'd be under your skills.
I believe an advanced skill it is melee brawling.
It's a grouped under melee.
Yeah, I do not have.
Okay, so you're gonna roll me a basic weapon skill. So not your melee basic, but like just your flat weapon skill. As you dive across the table in an attempt to tackle this man. He is going to try and dodge you though, because he is very alert.
So that would be under. I'm sorry, that would be under combat, or.
No, just your weapon skill. So just go up to where your weapon skill is and click it.
Yeah, the characteristic.
Yeah. I heard the Philip yell, didn't I, near the room?
You heard a shout, yeah.
I will, of course, would have gone to within going on.
Fuck's going on here?
You're missing a delightful tune about a halfling that once got in a contest with an elf on who could best seduce a human woman the way the halfling wins.
I felt like that point where it was not bothered. It was.
No, doing slim shit.
No, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to walk me through this. Would it be?
Okay, yeah. So you're gonna open your character sheet.
Weapon skill itself.
Yeah, you're gonna open your character sheet and go to the main page where all of your skills and stuff are, and then at the very top, go under weapon skill and go to your total weapon skill and click on the number.
Or just click on the weapon skill symbol itself. That's what.
That also works.
Funny.
Oh yeah, just click on the WS.
Oh, okay. There we go. So was it average or what was it?
No, it's gonna be challenging because there's but you will have any debuffs from being slightly drunk or your sick.
Drunk,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he rolled very high on his dodge, so you'd need a crit to get him. All right, you lunge across the table at Philippe, but he very deftly and smoothly twists away out of your grip, and he scowls and immediately jumps past he's going to leap over the table this way. Does anyone want to try and grab him?
In the doorway.
We'll get to you, Raret.
Yeah.
And will reach out to grab the arm that the card is presumably in.
Okay, anyone that wants to try and grab him will need to roll a melee brawling if you have it, and if you don't, just a flat weapon skill.
Alright, melee brawling it is.
Can I try and hit him upside the head with a mug?
You would roll it, you roll like a melee basic with an improvised weapon.
Okay, and I have strike to stun.
Oh, okay. So you'll need to do a called shot on his head, which is
disadvantages because of strike to stun.
Yes.
Stun is what you would do is you would throw it, and if it hits, I think he has to do you got to do another test to see if he's stunned afterwards. I forget what it was on my Sunday session. Because one of our halflings, he has strike to stun. He does.
Yeah. Let me double check.
As it's written, strike to stun with improvised weapons, they get the pummel quality.
Yes.
And you don't get a penalty to call shot to strike to the head with pummel quality.
Okay, great. Yeah, so yeah, if you want, you can totally try and bonk him on the head.
Is this still challenging even though there's more of us?
No, you will get a plus 20 bonus, which I am including in the other two of y'all's rolls.
Alright, so plus 20 to grab him then, right?
Not you, Raret. Don't worry about you. We'll do you last.
Okay.
He will re-roll.
Oh.
Okay.
Our enemies
We don't have to succeed, they just have to roll worse.
Okay. GM dice.
That's feels.
So.
Dark deals, right?
Dorathandrel, you're the only one that actually manages to really get him, funny enough. He does actually slip and fall as he's trying to cross, and when you grab his arm, it causes him to land in an awkward way, and he actually pulls a muscle quite badly, it seems, in his shoulder, and he lets out a gasp ah! But you do, as you grab his arm, you do see the Scarlet Empress card itself sticking out of his sleeve.
Now, how about you pay out, and perhaps we don't make a big ruckus about this?
You best listen to what the elf says, mate.
He will raise up his hands defensively and say, all right. And he will deposit with his other hand, he will deposit the 2 gold crowns that he very quickly swept up onto the table.
Then we'll give him a nod. And think, that's pretty much what he's won. Then do you find with letting him go, I think it'd be best just to not cause problems.
I agree, but I'll get right down in his face and I'll say, you better leave here tonight for the safety of my companions. If not, we might have some problems. And a roll to intimidate.
Okay, go for it.
Average?
Considering the situation, easy. Actually, no, make it average. Make it average.
I check the shillings, make sure they're real.
They are. Oh my gosh.
He's paid out in full.
He does not. He matches your glare, but he simply stands up and he's cradling his arm, but he just sort of looks around the room and just sort of surprisingly what's the word I'm looking for? With an affable, I guess, would if that's the right word, tone says, "Well then, good night, gentlemen." And he steps out of the room, squeezing past Rarit, and he walks to the stairs.
Fuck was all that about, Slims?
What a bastard.
Almost got fun for you, Rarit.
Why?
This one's common thief.
Tried to swindle money from us, he did, big man.
Oh, did
Swindling
you now?
money? That's how gambling works. The point of
Sounds
gambling
like,
is to cheat
sounds
the
like
other
nicking
mother out of all
someone's
his
favourite
money.
item. Do you want me to get the rest of your stuff back?
Yeah. It's a little bit beyond gambling there, Dothendril, and I'll turn to Rary and say, hey, big man, go up to his room and just convince him to not leave his room for the rest of the night.
Hold on, can I go up the stairs? That's the question.
Yeah.
I will go up the stairs and follow the guy.
Rarit, you squeeze up the stairs, going after Philippe, and you arrive on the second story and see him walking down the hallway. He doesn't seem at all bothered about anything that just occurred, but you are anything but subtle.
Yeah.
And he turns around and frowns, seeing you, and says, "What do you want?" As you try to approach, he does continue backing away slowly.
Don't get shifty now. I just want to know what happened. When I was busy watching this halfling.
As you continue approaching, you know what? He's gonna need to roll a cool check.
Yeah. He's got to get +1 to pass. Because I'm a size larger. He's fine.
He maintains like a healthy, 10 feet from you, but he doesn't seem terribly bothered. And he says, just business on the road as these things happen. A good game of cards. Your friends play well.
Business? Game of cards.
I'm going to approach slowly.
He keeps backing up.
That's funny because what I heard, you started to steal from them.
At the mention of this, he's going to take another cool check.
-1 again. Oh, he doesn't pass.
All right. He looks to his left and he sees the window and he turns back and says, "Well, you see this," and he pulls out a gun and shoots at you. So
He's just signed his own death warrant. And you said he was 10 feet, right?
yes, he's 10 feet away from you.
If I'm correct,
So-
then he will get a bonus because I'm one size larger.
Yep. All right, so he's going to fire a pistol at you.
Okay. I'll attempt to dodge if I've got the chance from that distance. But uh-oh.
You will. Okay, you will for a point blank shot, but it's not going to save you.
Who knows? Like I could get a 1. Challenging.
Oh, I get close.
You did get close. All right, so you are going to take.
No, because it will still hit me. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right, so there's a difference of 2, so you're going to take 9 damage to your right arm.
Yeah.
And then I need to pull up the crit table.
It was gonna happen sooner or later.
I'm trying to remember in the new crit if we still have to reverse everything. Or no, you roll again for ballistic skill. Yeah. So I'm gonna roll. Rarit, roll me a d100 for where the critical hit is.
So, 1d100. 1.
In your head.
You got your 1.
All right.
Oh my god.
If only you had rolled that one just a second ago. So for the head critical, what we do is, I believe it is, we roll a d100 and then subtract 20 from it, since you're not severely injured.
Yeah. So I'll do it again then.
Yeah. So roll another d100.
Okay.
Ooh, that is a high roll. All right, subtracting 20 is going to bring it down to a 42. Major eye wound.
Oh, fuck.
So take another 3 wounds.
Could I spend a fate point?
It's not as horrible as it sounds.
It's major though. I have had major wounds.
Yeah, it is. You're not going to lose your eye. Here, I'll tell you what it is, and if you want to spend a fate point, you can.
Okay.
So this would be a major blow strikes your eye socket, gain a bleeding condition, gain a blinded condition, and the blind condition cannot be removed until you receive medical attention.
So that means so in both eyes I'm blind then if I get.
You only have you have 2 eyes, right?
Yeah.
Well, so it would just be that you would just count as having the blinded condition until you see a doctor.
I think for the safety, to avoid it, I'm gonna have to burn what I need in order to not take it, cause.
Well, and remember, what you could do, I don't know if you have resilience, but you could use your resilience if in an emergency circumstance to get rid of the blinded condition.
Yeah, I've got 3. I'll do that.
Okay. That being said, I wouldn't worry about it for right now, because literally as part of his turn, after he shoots you, he runs and jumps out the window.
Well. Then you know what happens after that?
What happens after that is you're going to take a cool test because you just got shot with a black powder weapon.
Yep. Okay. It's a cool test and if I do get past it, the night's going to end up being. Hope, fingers crossed though. Come on, Rerit. Pass this cool test and catch that thieving little shit.
All right, you gain a broken condition. Unless you want to try re-rolling.
I will attempt to re-roll, because I've not done that today at all. Let's go down to go from 0 back to 1.
All right, you are not perturbed, even as you see the gun aimed at you, and there's a flash of light and the stink of black powder, and you raise your right arm to ward off the blow, but the bullet pierces through your right arm and slams into your face right around your eye. So your right eye, you just completely lose vision as the skin around it is torn to shreds by the blow, and you are bleeding profusely around your right eye, so you are blinded in that eye, and you have a bleed condition, so every turn until you get bandaged or a heal check from someone, or it successfully clots, you will be taking a wound.
Yes.
Oh. I need to roll for his athletics to see if he sticks the landing after jumping out of a window.
You can die from fall landing. I've had someone, an NPC do that. It was funny.
You hear him grunt as he hits the ground, but he's up and running a second later.
I'm going to then jump out of the window and fucking gaze.
You will not fit out the window unless your goal is to just obliterate the window.
I will obliterate it and chase him.
Okay, you charge forward into the window. Roll me a... Oh, God. Roll me a athletics check.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Roll me a flat strength check, but you will get a plus 20 due to your size.
Excellent. Plus 20, minus 10 because I am ill.
Hey.
All right, you slam into the window, and it groans for only half a second before exploding outward, and you fall to the ground. Let's see.
So I don't know how far it would ground from me. It would.
Hold on a second. I actually need to roll how much damage he took.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? He's gonna re-roll because he still has luck left.
Let's see how lucky he still is.
All right, no, he lands smoothly and he is off. Rarit, I will need you to roll me an athletics check. So it is an easy athletics check.
Very well. Easy.
Sorry, not easy. Average.
Average then. I was about to enter that, so caught that on. Athletics. Average. Yeah. Soon I will have to go, by the way, after this.
Yeah, that's fine. We're getting up to a decent stopping point.
Okay. No.
Oh, no!
Hey, gods, can I take a dark deal?
Yes, the dark gods do hear your plea. The maw hears the cry of its child as the ogre comes flailing out of the window, bellowing for vengeance. And the maw answers your cry. Gain 1 corruption point, and you may reroll.
Okay. It was still average, correct?
Yeah, exact same roll.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take it because it's not a crit.
Okay, so you come bursting out. Unfortunately, you are not used to jumping through the air, and slamming through the window wall anyway really threw off any hope you had of landing precisely. You actually kind of came out more tumbling more than actually falling, and you slam into the ground in the least grateful, most like wind knock out of you way possible. So you are going to be completely prone. Actually, no, you might be okay, but it's very unlikely. Roll me, so let's see. Roll me a d10. It's going to be +3 per yard that you fell. And you fell... You're going to take a... so it's going to be 1d10 plus 9.
Slash. Oh, slash. Oh, sorry. 1d10.
All right, so you're going to take 12 wounds as you slam into the ground. And that is more than your toughness bonus, so you have the wind completely knocked out of you, and you crumple. You are prone, and that is the end of your turn.
Everyone would have heard that, though.
Yes, those of you downstairs, you do hear a gun go off. And Gustav goes, "What's that then?"
Can I roll perception to see if I hear the sound of a flintlock weapon going off?
You don't need to do that. It's very loud.
Yeah.
You hear a gunfire and an ogre yell.
Big man's in trouble.
How far?
Gustav grabs a blunderbuss from under the table and starts running for the stairs.
Orthan will follow after him.
Is there any easier way of egress? Like, can we break through the wall in the wall of the invisible garden, or no?
No, not you guys.
Yeah.
Alright.
All right, you all follow him upstairs, and as you arrive in the hallway, you see the bodyguard of Lady Isolde standing there with a saber drawn, standing in front of one of the doors. She doesn't really acknowledge any of you. She just gives like a slight tilt of the head. But as you all run down the hallway, you hear Gustav go, Sigmar's balls, what have they done to my wall? And you see a massive hole has been smashed into this wall where a window used to be.
Hey, look out the wall where the window used to be and see if I see the ogre and whoever he was chasing.
You see the crumpled form of Rarit down on the ground. And then you see you have just enough time to see you have just enough time to see Philippe disappearing over the wall.
Could I roll to shoot him before he goes over the wall?
With what?
With my bow?
You can, but it's going to be a very hard shot.
Okay. And very hard with what?
Minus 60.
Cool.
So, like, if you don't roll 1 through 5, you ain't hitting him. And he is gone to the wind. Now, you pull out your bow, you take aim, and you fire, but you just got here, and you had to, like, unsling your bow so quickly and fire an immediate shot, and he was in the midst of bringing himself over the wall. The arrow impacts and shatters against the wall just to the left of him, but he vanishes over it into the dark of the forest, and he is gone.
I still have 2 fortune points left. Could I re-roll?
Yeah, you can reroll.
Okay. Now, is challenging or very challenging?
No, it's still very hard. The roll itself doesn't change. You just get to try again. Need a 14 or lower.
Yep.
Oh, wow, that was super close. That was super. Okay, so the arrow doesn't go to the left of him. It actually whizzes by and actually slices nearly through his hair, and you hear him bark in alarm before he vanishes over the wall.
Son of Sigma!
I'll tell the barkeep, that man just tried robbing us and shot our friend, I think, and I'll go look down at Rarit. Rarit, are you okay?
Oh, my eye.
I'll hop down.
You want to walk down so you don't crumple yourself like Rary.
You know, you do not want to jump from here. It is too high to land safely.
All right.
I mean, there's an ogre to land on.
I don't think he'd appreciate you falling like 3 yards to land on him.
All right. I'll look at the height, think twice, and then I'll rush down to the low ground.
Gustav is holding his head and going, "Oh, my wall. This is gonna it's gonna be expensive to replace."
I'll give you, if it's broken, I'll give you a gold. Slim, I'm sorry.
He looks over and goes, "Oh, we should get your friend inside." And he starts heading downstairs.
Oh, my
Physical student.
Yeah.
And I'll look and I'll say, find a doctor ASAP. The barkeep might know who a doctor is in the immediate area. Find a doctor immediately.
I need to see if who among these characters has the heal skill.
Maybe that kid with the leech's book.
I have a heal of 40, but it's under challenging.
Well, no. Do you actually have the heal skill?
Yep.
Oh, you've taken advances in heal?
Advanced skills, heal of 40.
Well, yeah. Do you have any? Here, I'll just look at your character sheet. See what you got, Mr. S. Okay, you don't have any advances in it though. You need to have an advance in it.
Okay, no.
But I bet one of these little guys has. Okay, no, the crow Sotek definitely does not have heal.
Well, I mean, if the barkeep has heal, the crow might.
Yeah, I don't have long, by the way, just to let you know, guys.
Goodness.
Oh my gosh, there's nobody. Oh, okay, nobody needs heal. So Rarit, there's quite a bit of confusion downstairs. But as Gustav comes down, he goes, "It's all right, everyone. Calm down. It's all right. It's all right. Just a minor altercation upstairs." And he goes to the bar and he pulls out some bandages and hands them to you, Dorthandrel, as you're passing, and say, "Patch up your friend with these and get him to the common room."
I will grab them, give him my thanks, and look to the medical student studying, saying, "Are you ready for some practical?"
He looks over at you, alarmedly, and says, "I'm just an academic. I don't have any practical knowledge."
Well, I'm sure leeches will be wonderful here.
I don't have any leeches.
Perhaps a more preparedness may be necessary for your future studies.
He kind of pales and he closes his book and he goes, I'm going to my room. He's very shy. You see him, he stands up and you kind of realize how young this guy is, like definitely in his 20s, but probably only just barely. And the thing that really gives him away is he is clearly trying to grow a beard and just failing miserably. God bless him. I know those pains all too well. That being said, you do the four of you arrive around Rarit, and you may use bandages to staunch the bleeding. The way bandages work, if you do not have the heal skill, is you use your dexterity. So I would advise whoever has the highest dexterity among you treat Rarit.
Is it average or challenging?
It will be. That's a good question.
There's nothing going on right now, but Rarit.
You may do average.
Even with the heal skill?
I'll re-roll that.
If you actually have heal, does anyone actually have training in heal?
I have something in heal, because it's here.
But just because it's there doesn't mean you have it. You have to have at least one advancement in it to know it. If there's a 0 under advancement, then you don't actually know the heal skill, because it's an advanced skill. All right, Dorthandrel, you you take the bandages and you kind of pat away at Rarit's eye so that you can actually see where the damage is, and sure enough, you can see that it looks like the bullet tore through the flesh around his eye. Luckily, it doesn't seem embedded in him. It seems to have tore clean through, but you can tell he's not going to be using that eye for a while. And you are able to successfully tie a bandage and secure it around his head and around his eye, and the bleeding is able to be brought under control.
All right. Now here's the important question. Do the bandages look nice? Are they nice and like perpendicular, making a nice clean line?
Yes, it is easily the least fitting thing about Rarit at this point. The bandages are outlandishly neat and tidy on a creature so disheveled.
Well, Rarit, I think you'll keep your eye.
If I lose it, I'll just shove metal on it. I'm gonna sleep now before I start swinging.
Well, there's a nice empty spot for you in the common room where it's warm.
Good.
With that, it would probably be wise, unless some of y'all want to speak to the other patrons. But, you know, we'll figure that out next time. I think we'll go ahead and call it since we got people that kind of got to go. And that's a good stopping point as there was an explosion of excitement there right at the end. So we will resume next time and give y'all a chance to talk to any of the other patrons if you want, and then, head after that and continue on your adventure.
All right.
But congratulations, gentlemen. You have officially reached the actual beginning of the Enemy Within. Y'all are now in the actual... You have finished the prequel. Everyone gets 150 experience for this session.
Nice.
Wow. Thank you.
Since you successfully managed to get away from Delberz with relatively minor issue.
Heist and Delberz, just fine. One gambler and an inn almost kills our ogre.
Hey, man. Ogre just had to antagonize him. He was done with y'all. He was leaving.
And I've ever seen.
Yep. Right. I've got to bounce anyway, so I will see you guys when I see you.
All right.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye-bye.
GM, question for you.
Yes.
Between my nice meal and a nice inn with a full set of cutlery and the elegant bandages on Raret, is that enough seeking elegance to regain a resolve?
Yes. You may have a resolve point back.
Yay.
All right, nice. I'm a head out. Was fun, guys.
All right.
Peace.
Yep, great session, guys. I will see you all later.